Chat, what's going on? Everybody, welcome to the pod tonight. Um, this is our fourth episode, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, fourth episode. Welcome back. As you can see, like I said, no more just Tuesdays. I have way too many people scheduled than days in the week, so Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on. This week, however, very special guest. This is Sierra. Sierra's an EKU graduate, made her way into a career in therapy and rehabilitation. Sierra's found a purpose in finding ways to help other people through issues when it comes to, hold on. Sierra has found a purpose in finding ways to help other people through issues when some means disregards her own or her own problems. Sierra is able to overcome adversities and make a strong name for herself, and I'm very proud to introduce this week's guest, Sierra Hancock. How you doing, C?
You would think I wrote that.
Huh?
How I said you would think I wrote that
Oh yeah. I mean,
because of
I do know you pretty well.
no, I'm saying like the mess ups. That's me.
Well,
That's me.
I guess I don't know if it's a spacing or what, but it just made it so confusing.
I was like, am I sure I didn't like write that actually?
Sierra has found a purpose in finding ways to help other people through issues when in some ways disregarding her own. It made sense. It was just the spacing was weird.
I do that actually. Yeah.
Really?
I'll take on your issues and mine, but I'll ignore mine. You know. That's okay.
Really? No.
We're out here trying.
Um, but yeah, so kind of that was a real rough bio, but what would you say your own bio is? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sierra.
I feel like you nailed it. Like EKU grad. Well, I also got my master's at
Are you
Louisville.
Bill? I left that out.
And
I had to
then
squeeze in a part about you disregarding your own problems.
oh, yeah, a little diss, a little diss. It wouldn't be you if it wasn't a
That's
diss in
fair.
there.
Just you though.
Uh, huh?
It's just for you.
Right? Yeah. No. Because who else would you make fun of?
That's fair.
Because I think your wife would beat you up.
Questionable. She hey Spice, thanks for the resub. She now that we've been together for so long, it kind of flipped. You'd think like she try to fight me, and now she just like gets really upset when I make jokes.
So now you're bullying her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a bully.
You knew that.
But anyways,
We've been knowing that.
anyways, so masters at U of L.
Yep. And then just finished my training for EMDR and am in the works for finishing my neurofeedback certification. Um,
What does that mean
we're out
for
here
us
living.
normal folks? What does that mean?
Oh, gotcha. EMDR is used for people with like a lot of military folks, like PTSD, just trauma.
Perfect.
And then neurofeedback is like a biofeedback, so it's a wide variety of. It can treat anxiety, depression, OCD, DHD, etc., etc.
DHD?
DHD?
D?
D?
DHD? B.
Yeah, there we go.
What is that?
Yeah, tension,
Oh,
hyper.
ADHD.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, I got that. Okay. I thought you said B. I thought you said
No,
BHD, and I was like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of
yeah,
that
no.
HD.
No, I don't know about that one yet. I don't
That
think that's in
no,
the
you know that
DSM-5.
meme? What's the video? I don't know what HD is, but the doctor just called and says I got 20 of them bitches. Or 30, you know what I'm talking about?
We
Okay.
love to see it.
ADHD at its finest. But anyways,
You know,
so you're doing good things.
fine.
That's all we can do.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people would probably disagree with that. I have one person that comes to mind, but she's off doing her own thing now, so it's
We're not gonna
okay.
talk about that. Even though I need to, Matea told me to ask a question, so I'll save it for after the pod.
Oh, I think
Um,
that's a whole. You're talking about a whole different other person. That's
oh, okay. Okay, again, we'll save it for later.
yeah.
So kind of let's talk about a little bit about like getting into your career. What was like the driving force to get you into like the rehab field and try to help people? I mean, I know that you got a big heart. You've always liked helping other people, but
Yeah.
when you weren't being an
Honestly,
asshole.
going right. I have to balance the two.
Yeah.
And I still call my clients out on their shit. I'm not just gonna let you. No, I'll call you out. I'll be like, "Are we sure that was like a good decision?"
Yeah,
Let's rethink.
that's fair.
But honestly, going into college, I didn't even want to go. And then I went and I had no idea what I was gonna do. I thought I was gonna be nursing. Me and math, me numbers. No, 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 no.
I don't feel like your
And
strong suit's ever been blood either.
I'm okay with blood, just not
A lot of
needles.
it.
Yeah,
I guess that can be a
even
thing. You can be a nurse and give people shots, but not like getting them.
yeah.
Matea just had a doctor that was like that. They told me to go up there and get blood. I'm like, no.
I'm good. I'm good.
What is it about needles?
I don't know. It's why I really don't have any tattoos or multiple piercings because I can't. No, thank you.
Eric, you're a little behind, brother. She's a therapist.
Yeah, here we are.
That's the thing too. This is a interesting dynamic that there's like a fourth wall that they can break to like ask questions or make comments that make me laugh sometimes. So, but I do enjoy it. Um, so one thing I would say it came with like fatherhood, but just like right now my big thing is just knowledge, as much knowledge as I can get. Um, one thing that interests me a lot that I spend a lot of time looking into is like the human brain and how it works. And I don't know if you saw the podcast I did with Alyssa. Did
I
you see
feel like
that?
I watched every other one but that one,
Well,
unfortunately.
that was the first one, but we talked a lot about like trauma and how um, like kids can grow up with different traumas even though they're raised the same way.
Mhm.
That's really interesting to me.
About how your interpretation of it could be completely different, even though like you might have a twin and they would take it totally different.
So that what it is just based off the individual's interpretation of what's going on. Hmm.
And how like not just that, but like how they also process things. So if someone is overcompensating versus undercompensating, that goes into a lot of it too, um, for like their childhood wounds. So yeah.
And I take it that that's something you see a lot, like talking to people is like ultimately a lot of it comes down to their interpretation of what they're going through, right? Because I'm sure you get those people that like blow shit off like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I have a client like that right now, and I'm like, you just went through hell and back, and you're just like, am I dead? No, I'm good. Okay, let's keep stepping. And I'm like, oh,
But
okay.
is that a bad way to think though?
Um, no, but it's not necessarily healthy either. Like it gets him through
That's
the
fair.
day, but
See,
also like
key
now
right
he's.
there. Him. It gets him through. That's the key factor.
But it's like also when now are you having panic attacks because of it?
That's
Because like
fair.
now you haven't processed anything. So like when you're home alone and like not having these distractions anymore,
Right.
are you able to still deal with it the same way?
Well, I think that's the biggest factor. Like, especially, I mean, you know that I'm deep into the men's mental health stuff, but I think that's the biggest factor. Is like, I mean, I was notorious for dealing with depression and just distracting myself, but I definitely
Yeah.
think that's the biggest. Like, everybody can be cool in a setting where they're chopping it up and having a good time, but like when they're by themselves, that's when you should worry about them.
Yeah, the most.
Yeah.
And then they'll sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm fine," as they're freaking out. And then
Right.
a lot of men, especially, don't even know what a panic attack is.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, like my heart was racing, I couldn't breathe, but like I was able to like talk myself out of it." Okay, so you had a panic attack and you're able to talk yourself out of it. Great, but like let's figure out like why you're having a
Why?
panic
Right.
attack.
So you think a lot of the people you talk to is like underlying shit that just like keeps building up and then they reach their breaking point?
Always refer to like the pot. If like you have your pot of water and then it starts to boil over and like you take it off the stove for a little bit and then you put it back on and now you're boiling again.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. And so it's just one of those things of like, okay, well, you can take yourself out of the situation for a while, but like eventually you're gonna have to go back into it, and
Right.
you're gonna still boil over.
Right. That's one of the things too. I talked to the club here that I got, Easy Brother. We talk a lot about like it's really easy to distract yourself with problems, which it's a weird dynamic to like. Now, granted, I advocate for going to therapy, and granted, I know it's not for everybody, but at the same time, I feel like everybody can benefit from telling a third party that doesn't really give a fuck about your problems, what you're going through. Um, I mean, it helped me a
Start
lot.
to care. It's like the first couple sessions we don't really know you, so like
Right.
it's like okay, but
Well,
like
see, that's
we start to
interesting.
care.
So, like, you feel like at a certain point you get invested in the people that you see regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there has to be like some like wall there. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna show up to your birthday party because I've
Right,
been
right,
seeing you
right,
for
right.
years. But
Yeah,
like I can definitely be like, oh my gosh, like the more that I learn about their story, like the more that like like not like impacts me, but like it tugs on the heartstrings.
right. So, like, professionally, you have to have a lot of like barriers and like you don't cross this line. I get it. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
like I can't take it home. Like
Right.
it has to stay at work.
But at that point too, though, so like this is something I'm curious to ask like people in therapy because I had a therapist who, um, like he saw so many people, like he worked on campus, and his wife died, and he just like kept going about his life regularly. So I'm like, I popped in his office one day. He's like, "Do you need to talk?" And I was like, "No, I just came to check on you." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, I know you're going through it. Like, I know you talk to people about their problems all day, but like, who do you talk to about your problems?" And
I
he
have
was
a
like,
therapist.
"Yeah."
Chelsea's a real one. I've had her
So,
since high school.
so you think that that is almost a necessity in your field to have somebody that you can go and
Yes.
dump your shit on?
If your therapist does not have a therapist, something's wrong.
Okay,
Because again, like who are they talking to?
right. So at that
Yeah,
point, it's
no.
like you think that could kind of stray into like the psychopath range, or they just like handle all this shit and it doesn't really phase them.
I don't wouldn't say that. I feel like at the end of the day, like therapists can be put on like this pedestal of like, oh, they know everything,
Right.
and it's like I can tell you exactly how to set boundaries and like communicate really well and like do all these things. Outside of that, when I leave the office, I'm not the same person.
Right.
I
Right.
might
Right.
be able
Right.
to tell you all these things, but like doesn't mean I'm necessarily always doing them
That's fair.
correctly. I know about them, but like I'm human. I'm still gonna have
Right.
my crash outs. I'm gonna have like my moments. Uh, but like it's all about like trying to figure that out,
Right.
and we're all still just growing.
It's really interesting. I think too, like for me, like I've said it before, but I feel like I'm sure it's like the case you felt that way. But like when you talk to people about their issues, at a certain point, it feels like you're so involved in other people's shit that it's like everybody's always asking you advice or telling you what they need, and nobody ever asks you like what you need or how you're doing. Granted, I
Yeah,
have a great wife that does that, but at the same time, it's like it would be nice occasionally for somebody who isn't you to say. Because I told Matea that, and she was like, "Well, that's not trash." All the time, I was like, "Yeah, it's different. Like that's your job. You know what I mean? Like
right.
sickness and health, you made that promise to me." So like, it would be nice for some of the people that are constantly coming to me and dumping all their shit on me to be like, "Yo, how are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like I start every session with like, "How are you?" And then pretty much all of my clients are like, "I'm good," and like they'll kind of say, and then they'll ask me like how I'm doing. Obviously, I don't go into depth. Like I'll kind of be like, today was shit," but like we're striving for not
Striving to be better than
perfection, but just
yesterday. Right?
yeah,
Right?
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Little
like
little
it is.
shameless
They'll
plug. Okay.
ask.
But
Uh
yeah.
oh.
But do you feel like that's kind of the like that at a certain point that it kind of gets to that you feel that way too? Like it's like, damn.
No, I don't think so yet. Maybe at some point. I feel like a lot of like the people around me are really good about like checking in with me. But like that comes from like building a really good support system.
So I don't know the logistics. I know we talked vaguely about like what you do. So is it like a third party or is it like a government job or
We're private practice.
okay.
Um, I know like I wouldn't if I was going out of school again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for a lot of people. Like coming right out of grad school, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, go private practice because it is so isolating. It's like there's three people in my office. Like that's it.
Right.
It's like there's no making friends because I can't be friends with my clients.
Right.
And then a lot of the times with private practice and like supervision with like my licensing, they're like, oh, you can't be friends with your supervisor. So that leaves me with nobody.
Right.
So it's kind of like one of those things of just being smart about who you're being around because you really don't have many options in this field.
That's fair. I think that goes to like any profession though. Like there's certain guidelines and stuff you can't cross. Now, granted, kind of what you said, you only have a couple people in your office, so. But also, I'm not necessarily like I like the people I work with, but I'm not going out to have drinks with them on the weekends, and like we're cool.
Yeah, but like at one point, my best friend was working with me, so we were going out, not every night, most nights when we both got off at the same time, and we're like, oh, let's go get a drink and
Most nights.
decompress.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
It, it's one of those things. So it was like the people I work with. It just sucks that my best friend no longer works with me. Um, like trying to rebuild that, community there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think though that I mean, I love that you found something that you actually like to do. I'm curious though, like with this, like the groundwork of things, where you said there's only 3 people that works with you. Being a private practice, do they focus on like you as a therapist and like okay, like checking on you, making sure you're not mentally burnt out?
My boss is really good about if you like, because I make my own schedule, which is nice. Like I'm taking a vacation in a week on the 10th, and she was like, "You deserve it. You haven't been on one in so
Right.
long." Like, so in that sense, like it makes it easier to balance things, But like sometimes you don't necessarily always get that.
Do you feel like if there was a point where you were just like overworking yourself, just like throwing yourself into work, that you would be like, you're off these days, you'd be like, go home, go do something for
Not
you?
at this job. Not not in private practice, no, because I'm just like, okay, I don't work Fridays anyway.
Right.
So I'm like, I just gotta make it to Thursday. I make it to Thursday and I'm gold.
Because I feel like I've had jobs that are like mentally draining, and it's like, oh, take time for yourself. Like it's more like they're telling us to, but they don't like keep track of if we're doing it or not.
Yeah, I would say when I was working at the Brook Hospital, that was a time. That was, I wouldn't say I was overworking myself, but it was mentally taxing. Like having chairs thrown at
Yeah.
me, having, people body slam other
That
people
was
because like
that
they're
was kids,
inside
right? You
posted
were working with a lot of kids.
a lot of
Yeah.
kids, yeah. And like to see kids under the age of 12 say that they like want to harm themselves and like people around them is so sad. Like I shouldn't be talking to a 6-year-old about like why they don't want to be here anymore and why they want to burn their house down. What are we doing?
Right. So
So
like
like that was
let's talk a little bit about the age discrepancy. So like I talked to somebody and they were talking about like going to therapy as a kid, and it was like very, granted Ty doesn't really talk about it. He went when he was younger.
Mhm.
But they say that like the process is different in the sense of like you like give them toys and then you try to like get information out of them without like having a like an adult conversation. It's like what age
Which
does that kind of stop and the like more adult conversations start? Because I feel like as a 12-year-old, if somebody was trying to talk to me about the shit I was going through, I'd be like, yeah, fuck off. I don't got time for this.
right? Well, the thing is like so you have play therapy, like that's what that is. But then like you have some kids, at age 7 and they're like willing to sit down and chat with you. And like they'll tell you straight up. But then you have some kids that like just don't understand how emotions work, and then that's where like play therapy comes in. But like not every kid goes through play therapy. Like I definitely have, I would say, what was he, 10? I had a 10-year-old on my couch this week, and he sat there and just chatted about what he had going on. Didn't even need a fidget toy. And I was like, okay, cool.
How many times do you have people like come in and they talk to you, and then when their time's up, they leave, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
I would say at least 2 or 3 times a week. I would say all the time, because some of it I'm like, I expect from some of my clients that they just like drop bombshells. And then there's other times where I'm just like, this just happened. Like, is this real life?
Right.
Like, hang on.
Right.
We need to like add another hour to this.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean,
like
I've actually, as a
especially
mentor, I've had those conversations where people come in and like trauma dump, and then like, we're crying, they're crying. I'm like giving them tissues, and then they're like, we get to a point where they're good, and they're just like throwing jokes, and they just get up and leave, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
And it's like they'll hit the end of the session and they're like, "Okay, I'm good." I'm like, "I'm not good. How are you
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Hang
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Like we need to
Well, see,
debrief
like
a little
that's
bit."
the thing too that I think therapy is so beneficial. Kind of like the third party thing that I said. Like I've had times where I've talked to somebody that I could care less about their opinion because I need to get something off my chest. But as soon as I dump it, and I'm like, okay, I don't care what this person thinks of me. Like I feel better now. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that
Like I
that's the key to like why therapy works is because like if you look at it that way of like I just need to get this shit off of me and just put it out in the universe.
yeah. And like I'll tell some of my clients cuz some a lot of people don't like to journal and like that's valid. Like don't I get it. I didn't like it until, a couple years ago and I was finally like, "Okay, like I got to put this somewhere."
Right.
But like I know a lot of people who will sit and like take videos of the, like video record themselves so that way they can just like talk it out.
Hmm.
And so like I found like people to find that helpful. That way it's off your chest. You're not necessarily having to pay someone. I know I charge quite a bit, and it makes it a little bit easier.
So at what point, like, where's private practice? Is it something that can be covered by insurance or is it not covered
Yeah,
by
I
insurance?
take some like my therapist doesn't take insurance, but like it's kind of up to the therapist's like discretion
Hmm.
on if they want to even go through the tedious work of insurance. Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield can burn in hell. I will say that. Oh my god, they are the worst to work with. So we don't take them anymore. But like, there's some that are like super chill, but like others, don't even come at me with your insurance. Stay away.
um, so let's go back. Uh, your so like, what was it that overall, like, outside of like wanting to help people, what was your like draw to being in therapy?
It is like the stupidest thing ever. Cause I didn't go the like psychology route. Like I went through social work route.
Yeah, so
Um,
your undergrad was psych, right?
oh, like both my
Or
master's and
social
my
work?
undergrad were social work.
Okay.
So if you ever need a social work degree in Kentucky, I highly recommend EKU because I would say that was honestly prepped me more for what I was doing in life than my master's degree did. Anyway, shout out to Stephanie. But my roommates were in social work program, and I was like, let me just go see what this is about because like I had no idea what I was doing. And at that point, like for my degree, and I was like, let me just sit in on a class, and I like loved it. It was like intro to social work, like something just so small, and I was like, okay, I'm getting into this. And then still halfway through like my degree, I was like, but I don't know what I want to do with this because like I was working for DCBS like for a practicum, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but like if I only get my undergrad, that's all I'm gonna be able to do.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, no. And honestly, I don't really know what obviously like helping people, but like there wasn't like this big thing that was like, oh, go private practice. Like obviously the benefits of making my own schedule, doing like kind of what I want, like that freedom was really nice, but like there wasn't like a oh I have to do this. Like I knew I loved my therapist and like loved what she did, but it wasn't like a oh I have to be exactly like her type of thing.
But
Just out
this,
here chilling.
the root of it was like you always liked helping people, but once you got into the social work, that you were like, okay,
I was like, yeah, this is the route to go. Sure. But I didn't even at the time when I was getting into social work, I didn't even realize you could go into therapy and like be a therapist. It was like deer in headlights
right.
going through my social work
So
degree.
you think like to a certain point you kind of lucked out on finding that career path
Yeah,
because you're
100%.
like what was your appeal to the social work? Like you liked the classes, but what was it like? Okay, I could see myself doing this.
Just being able to like interact with people and like make a difference because like a lot of social work stuff is like you have to have so many hours of community service and like doing like yada yada like in the sense of how they want you to be like a good social worker. Like the ethics is like do community service, be there for people, that whole thing. And I was like, I like that. I'm an asshole, but I like that.
Fair enough. Um. So what would you say is your like biggest career goal?
Well, I think my mom wants to kill me when I bring this up. Actually, I think my dad would kill me. My mom supports it because she's always thought I'd be a good lawyer. But going back and getting my law degree.
I could see it. I mean, you like to talk, but you also like to argue, so it checks out.
Oh, love to argue. It's the
So,
Aries in me. Like
so toxic.
I can't be wrong. Like, could you imagine a like? I bet you can. But like a lawyer that just like can't lose. Like I'm not gonna lose argument. The jury might say that the jury might find you guilty, but like I'm not gonna end like the argument don't end until we win. I'm going down swinging,
Okay.
and
I mean, I could
you
definitely see
know,
you being a lawyer, though. Your little
yeah,
pantsuit.
right? Well, I had a friend she's actually who I'm going on this Florida trip with, and she's in law school right now. And we were talking the other day, and she's like, I've known her since elementary school, and she was like, literally still just can't imagine you being a therapist. Like, I just think that's so funny because like she's seen every version of me growing up. Like, she was there from day one,
Yeah.
and I was like, I bet you can't. Like, you personally probably can't. Like, the new me now, we're getting there.
I mean, if yeah, I think a lot of it comes with like maturity. I think it says a lot. Like I can see, like you've always liked to help people, but I can see like the growth in you being able to not talk as much and to listen.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, because I know that was a problem for you in high school.
oh, yeah.
But a lot of
You
growth
couldn't
in
tell
that.
it.
Yeah. No, definitely not. And if I told you something I didn't like, I got blocked. Um, but I think that the lawyer route makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But
But
being a lawyer doesn't mean necessarily you can't help people. You know what I mean?
right, and like a lot of social workers who go in for like law, 'cause, like that's not an uncommon route. Is like people get their masters and then go into law school for like with social work. They do a lot of like immigration stuff, or just like domestic violence, like that sort of thing. And I'm like, I could do that. I would love to. You know me. I would love to argue against a man when it's supporting a woman. Like I will gladly argue against any man. But I would support men too. Don't
Even
worry.
even when you're
I'm
in the
not being
wrong,
sexist.
even when they're in the wrong though.
Women ain't wrong. Sorry.
Okay,
Hang
that's
on.
good
What?
stuff. That's good. Hold on. What?
Sorry. Women are
Um.
never wrong.
Also, your mom agrees with the blocking.
It happens, man.
um. All right. I don't understand how that could be true.
You need me to argue it right now?
No, I'm not trying to start an argument. I'm just curious on how you get to that.
Delusion for sure, but like delusion drives a lot of dreams. Like
So you're saying that delusion is how women can be wrong?
no. That's how they're right, right? So like that delusion and like in me of like knowing that that woman's right, they could be completely wrong. But like the delusion that tells me no, that woman's in the right, like it don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That feeds the
Okay.
argument.
That's not what I'm struggling to understand.
Okay,
So
tell
you're
me.
never wrong.
Gotcha.
Questionable. Anyways, if that's the case, and you date women, who wins the argument?
We're both right. We're just not seeing the same. Like we're
Oh,
just not seeing
okay,
each other's
okay. So
perspective.
why can't that be the case if it was a man and a woman?
It's a man.
Okay, all right. Um,
I feel like this is the argument me and my dad would get into just so I could prove that my dad was wrong.
there's just flaws in your argument, though.
There?
Yeah. All right. Anyways.
I'll gaslight the fuck out of you. Like you don't want to get into
All
it.
right.
I will gaslight
Okay.
you so hard.
What would you say your biggest learning experience is?
Rephrase the question, please.
What's your biggest learning experience? It's not a hard question.
I would say sports for 100%. That was like, it's not just like one thing. Me.
Okay, like what? But what did you learn through sport? Like you're saying that something you learned in sports has gotten you to where you're at today.
Percent. Like, I would say my discipline has tapered off a little bit. I will admit. But like overall, like that's what's helped me the most is just the things I've learned of like being able to like just be tough, be disciplined, and like no matter what, like not giving up on like something. Like I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna see it through.
Your hard-headedness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does it every time, man.
Every
Does it every
time.
time.
Every time.
Like no, it's like knowing me, like you knowing me through high school, like you knew like I hated school, like
Yeah.
hated it. Never wanted to go to college, and then I added a master's onto it. Like
Right.
there was just
Same.
like it just kept going, and so but it just like being hard headed, I guess, got me through it.
That's fair. Your mom said it's in your Irish heritage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can't wait for St. Patrick's Day.
It's just you.
Really gonna show out for that.
I think it's just C. All right. Speaking of your hard head, what would you say your hardest challenge in life has been?
God, giving up, man. I like, and that's definitely more. I would say towards the relationship aspect of my life. Man, I do like. I always feel like I can fix stuff, right? And so I'm like, oh, I can fix this. I can, which still ties back into the therapy aspect of me, like trying to fix people.
I think that goes into the aspect of you thinking that you're never wrong.
True. Also true. See, like it all just intertwines.
See, look, you agreed. Thinking.
I never.
Anyways.
Anyway, but just like I don't give up. Like, and if I get to the point of like, okay, like the towel's thrown in, it's not gonna be like I'm just like nice about it. Like I'm gonna be an ass. Like, which is toxic. I get it. Like I said, I'm not being paid to be anyone's therapist right now. So I'm just like, I'm chilling. So sometimes we have our toxic sides come out, and like that's how mine is. Is like you're gonna hate me. End of the day, like you're either gonna love me or you're gonna hate me.
But
Pick
no,
your choice.
I think there's a, I don't know. I don't know what it is about you. Like, I guess it's because you're like, I don't know if it's like we feel bad for you because you think you're never wrong or what it is. But like, I might get upset with you, but I don't hate you.
I think that still comes back to like my personality. Like I'm funny enough that like you're gonna miss that I can make you laugh. Like who the fuck's gonna make you laugh like the way I do? Nobody.
See, that's
Nobody.
cockiness.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
swear, there's been a conversation where I had where I said something very similar. You're like, you're cocky. And I'm like, me?
Yeah.
That's crazy because I'm a
I
man.
don't know if it's cockiness or if it's confidence. Like
Yeah, what did
there's
Polo
a
G?
fine line.
Polo G said, I'm not cocky, I'm just confident.
Yeah, like I definitely ride that line very finely. I might tiptoe over it every once in a while, depending on like what it's about. But we are.
Can we just take a minute? Can we just take a minute and clip that and send it to yourself in high school and see what her reaction would be?
Uh, she was Sierra in high school was cocky. I would say now it's turned more into confidence.
Which, I
One of those
mean,
fake it till you make
I
it.
think that, again, goes a lot into like growing up and maturing.
Yeah, for sure. Like I know I might not be, like this out there, but like I know that you gonna find better. Maybe for you, but there's nobody better than me for me.
Okay. Pop off,
You know
Queen.
what I'm saying? Okay, thank you. And will.
um, but no, like, what do you think? What do you think if that's the case, like we're talking about like high school Sierra, what do you think you've grown the most on that you would like be proud of to tell high school Sierra, like, hey, stop being a
My
bitch.
anger, my yeah, being a bitch. My anger, man. I was so, and I think a lot of this comes back to like the anxiety I had about life, and it just came out in anger. Like that second emotion to anger was definitely anxiety, and I think I had so much of it that I didn't know what to do. And so it was like, well, I'm not gonna let anything else hurt me
Right.
because I'm already living in fear.
So it's a defense
And
mechanism.
now,
You being a
yeah,
bitch in high
100%.
school was a defense mechanism.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I
And
couldn't
so
tell you
yeah,
how many times people was like, "Bro, your friend is mean," and I'm like, "Yeah, she does that.
yeah, yeah. And
She does
now,
that
well, now
sometimes."
I get I get like the comments of like she looks mean, and then
Yeah,
people are
it was
like,
says,
no, she's not
"It's
really.
your RBF."
She's not. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't
same.
know how my clients will sit there and like I'm just sitting there
Yeah,
like telling me like tragic shit, and I'm just like, I know I look like
you
an
should
asshole
like put
right now,
glasses on and like keep them low pressed on your nose, and then they can't take you serious.
right? Like Santa Claus.
Yeah, but no, yeah, no, I get it. It's the RBF. I've got it. Matea's got it, and Evie already has it. So I'm scared.
Oh, I guarantee
Dude,
it.
I'm scared for her. Whoever crosses her in the future, I am terrified for them.
Yeah, but I
And if
would
they,
definitely say like my hair was bad.
no, for sure, yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I knew what it was. I was just curious what you'd say.
yeah, that was definitely it. Like even like playing sports. Oh my gosh, like I yelled this the other day at like a high school basketball game that I went to, and I was like, if you're gonna foul her, like don't let her get up. Like she better be on the floor.
That's wild.
And I was like, oof, like that's me definitely going back to like old me like moments of just like, why is this girl? If you're gonna foul her, make sure it hurts. And I was like, yeah, we shouldn't be doing that.
But I feel
Don't
like
do
it's
that. That
different
was
though. Like when it comes to competition, like that's. I mean, you're a competitor. You always have been. Even when you can't compete.
um, I'm
Hey, listen,
always.
you can be a hooper all you want. You ain't never beat me. Um,
Here you go. Here you go.
and
Saying
also,
you're
I
less
talked about.
than I.
Listen, I talked about this. I can't remember what podcast. Maybe it was Alyssa's podcast. But oh no no no, it was Matea's last week, and we are talking about like sports and how I played basketball in middle school. I was like you know me, like 5'5". Like I was
You're
probably 5 foot.
tiny.
I was probably 5 foot in middle school,
Yeah.
and like no PT, sit in the bench. And I was in the kitchen and I hit like a Euro step on Alyssa, and she just like, I don't know if it was like her time of the month or what, but she like spazzed on me and she's like, "You fucking suck at basketball." Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, damn. So I get my feelings hurt. So I quit basketball and then I just went and got better on my own time to be like, hey, like I don't suck anymore. It was more like a fuck you. But
Yeah. Well, I always remember you playing and like never understanding why you didn't try out for like the high school.
yeah, that's why, because my sister told me I sucked. But also at the same time, I didn't really need basketball. Like I played two sports that were opposite seasons. Like it worked perfectly that way. And if I played
Gotcha.
basketball, I would cut into baseball season, and that's what I was really good at. Although I love football, like baseball was what I was best at. So it didn't really
Sure.
make much sense to play basketball too. I mean, I like playing like pickup and stuff, but it's not something that I was gonna dedicate my time into playing.
Makes sense.
Especially
Yeah,
not
because I
before
think,
junior year, and I grew 6 inches. So,
man, I remember when you came because I think we started being friends
yeah,
sophomore
sophomore
year,
year would
and
have been your
yeah, I
freshman year.
remember. Was it? Yeah. Okay.
No, no. It would have been
It was
your
my sophomore.
sophomore year, my junior year, going into senior year.
Yeah, because it was right before you had a growth spurt. Because I remember you being
Yeah, I remember coming
tiny.
back and you being like, "Who are you?" And I was like,
I
"Bro,
was like,
why does
what the
everybody keep
fuck
saying
is this?
that?"
Yeah, I was like, who is this man?
Yeah, I was like, "Why does
But
everybody keep saying that?" I had the fucking pencil thin mustache.
that was a time. That was a time back then.
It was, and I didn't start growing a beard until I was in college.
Yeah, you were like babyface.
I had a very pencil thin
Which
mustache. It wasn't even a mustache; it was peach fuzz.
okay, I think I can grow one the same way yours looked like in high school. For being honest.
Probably. You talking about now or in high school?
Now. Damn.
Yeah,
Now. Oh,
yeah, no,
okay.
it was embarrassing. And then like Matea, so there was a phase before I could grow a full beard in college that I had like the pencil thin chin strap. And Matea was like, "I love
Oh
the chin
yeah.
strap," and I'm like, "I fucking hope you liked it because it's never coming back." At the very most, you'll ever see me without facial hair will be a mustache, and it's only because I fucked up trimming it and I cut too much and I had to take it all off. And that's only happened once.
And I remember like when my uncle had all of like his beard stuff, like his shenanigans in 2013, and him sending pictures of all the random things when he was shaving it off.
Oh, like
and
the
like
different
all the random
styles.
ones. Yeah, and I was like, okay, the mustache one really got me. I was like, you look like
Like
a pedophile.
yeah.
Let's never do that
I
again.
only
And
I
they
don't know
will
what
do
it
it
is. I
still.
don't know what it is, but like facial hair is really weird. Where like some people can pull it off, and some people you're like that doesn't
Mhm.
belong on your face.
Yeah,
Like
I'm like,
like
if he has a
a
full
blonde,
beard,
yeah,
like good.
right. Like a blonde guy with a dark mustache or beard. You're like that's fake.
Mm-mm.
But
Don't do
but
that.
to that
Save
same
it.
extent, only certain people can pull off a mustache only.
Yeah, like
Like
I feel like, well, my dad always has a goatee, and
yeah,
it looks
and again,
fine.
certain look that only certain people can pull off.
Yeah.
Like for I feel like every man has to find out what facial hair is right for them. Because some people don't need any facial hair. You're like it looks weird, just get rid of it. But then like I have buddies like me and Trip have full beards. Ty would look really good with the goatee because he looks a lot like my dad, and it's my dad's look. And then
Mm-hmm.
you got Q who can only go like a real thin mustache and like a little bit of chin hair. And
That looks good on him. He
yeah,
pulls it
it
off so
fits. Yeah,
well.
right. I don't know what it is. It frames his mouth right with like his gap that it looks
Yeah.
right. So like, okay, cool. Maybe that's what it is. Because my dad had a gap and he only kept a goatee. He couldn't grow a full beard. But like, if you look at
Mm.
like men, like celebrities that pull off a mustache, like you gotta think like what's dude's name? Pedro. You know what I'm talking about? What's his
I
name?
don't know celebrity names like that. I'll tell you that. I know what their shows they're in, but you give me their actual name, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. He played in The Last of Us, The Mandalorian. He was in Gladiator 2. I'm trying to find something that
I
you
don't know.
know. I think I could do. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Pedro Pascal pulls off the single mustache. He kind of has like got like the 5 o'clock shadow underneath. But I mean, like the number one person, especially right now, that pulls off the mustache look only is Riley Green, the one and only.
Okay. Hear you, hear you.
But like, and then there's like people that are notorious for having only Steve Harvey. If he grew a full beard, you'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Think, but he would look so good with a full beard.
Yeah, yeah. Which like that his face is like some people can pull off multiple things. I think must he doesn't necessarily look good with the mustache, but that's just what made him famous, is having that thick ass mustache. So people are just used to it now.
And I'm like, you don't, it's once you get somewhere, you just gotta leave it, I
Right.
guess.
Now I will say the biggest factor on like if you're trying to grow facial hair is not to force it. So like I hate people with the patchy beards. Like that's not you, bro. You can grow chin hair, you can grow mustache. Just keep it tamed. And maybe eventually it comes in and you can see if it fits. But for me, I'd say what works best for me is full beard.
Yeah, for sure. I think once you were able to grow it out, it was no going back.
There was phases where it was like, okay, this isn't really working. And then I went through the phase of like the buzz cut with the goatee and I wanted to look like I yelled at other kids to stop running to my house. And then I was like, yeah, like it's not it didn't look bad. Oh. Matea said at this point it's freaking me out how much you love him because I was talking about Riley Green. I've literally been talking about Riley Green all day. Uh, but yeah, the there was phases, but I think this one is the one that suits me the most.
And I will say, no, when I'm around, it's a safe space. So, like, if you really need to get your obsession out with
Listen,
this man, like,
okay,
that's okay.
look, I had this conversation today with a group of guys, and I was like, "Who's y'all's man crush?" And
Eric
then
Morgan. Oh, that fine man.
Derek Morgan,
Yes. From Criminal Minds. I don't know his real
Shamar
name,
Moore,
but I know it's Derek Morgan.
yeah, Shamar Moore.
There we go. That's it.
Yeah, no, I
Fine.
agree. I will say though, they did him dirty. Have you seen SWAT?
You told me to watch that,
Yeah,
and I think I started like 2 episodes
it's got
and
Shamar
then
Moore in
forgot
it.
about
But they kind of
it.
did
Mm.
him dirty with his goatee. Him with the salt and pepper looks good, but they like dyed his shit, so it's like super black. It's like, come on, bro. I
Yeah.
think they played into that. They're trying to make him look younger because he's like 45, 50. So like
And he's
where he's
built
bald. No,
fine.
yeah, no, he's a good looking guy. But um, we were talking about man crushes, and like I got like Riley Green. Somebody said Tom Holland. And then I said, of course, Riley Green. And then I said, what's his name? Chris Evans, Thor, or Chris Hemsworth.
Seven.
Sorry, Chris Hemsworth.
Shit,
Um,
I don't know.
but they were like, okay, what about like female crushes? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of gay. We probably should have started with that. But they were like naming all these people, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, who's yours? I was like, I honestly don't have one. And I played off of that by saying that there was a time, like me and my friends make very borderline gay jokes, and by borderline I mean super gay.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
what? You
yeah,
making borderline?
yeah. No, it's super gay. And Matea dead ass one day looks me in the face and goes, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "No, no, bro. Just silly goose
Maybe.
times.
Maybe.
It's just silly goose times."
I know. Renee Rapp. I'm trying to get away from the blondes, actually, though. That's been my. I think I'm going back to my like first ever types of women that I started dating. Literally because I'm talking to the second girl I've ever dated, so there's that. Um, we're going back old school. We're getting out of like the white girl blondes.
So no Sabrina Carpenter.
Renee Rapp. Sabrina Carpenter's not
I
bad.
I almost put Sabrina Carpenter on on the Instagram reel for the pod today, but I was like, yeah,
She's not bad. Me and my friends are talking about going to her concert, but I think after this last little situationship, whatever I had, I really burnt myself out on blondes. Now Renee Rapp, any day can change that. But you know,
if
right
you're
now
watching,
we're yeah, right. Like, please be. Um, but yeah, like I'm just kind of getting out of that phase of life. I hope my family doesn't disown me because they're all about the blondes here. But you know,
that's fair. So I think this is where I realized, okay, I can see where Matea's coming from with the gay comment. They were like, they were putting out guidelines on like why they chose the guys that they chose, and they were
mm-hmm.
like, they had like, if I'm gonna be with somebody, they got to be rich. Like if I'm gonna be gay, I'm not gonna be gay for free. And I was like, honestly, it's not even that deep, bro. Like if I'm gonna be gay for somebody, they gotta look good and they gotta be somebody I could do bro shit with. Because I don't have a female crush because it's like, I'm not saying like a woman is good looking, but like, what is she gonna give me that my wife doesn't already give me? You know what I mean?
I was about to say yeah, like if Mate's already doing
Right.
it.
So I guess, is that more gay than the fact that I don't think so. That my man crushes is just like shit I want to do bro stuff with.
I think if you had a
It's the
guy
truthful
that you
answer.
could yeah, I think if you had a guy that you could do all that stuff with, you wouldn't. You'd be like, no, like my buddy, like
Yeah, no, that's
that.
fair.
That's
So
him.
basically, it's not like a gay thing. It's just like I want a bro that I could do bro shit with.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But they said I'm gay.
Hey, no
But no, so
discrimination here.
look, here's my reasoning. Honestly, my Chris Hemsworth, it isn't even Thor. Have you ever seen Extraction?
Yeah.
That's the Chris Hemsworth. Buzz cut,
Mm.
like badass,
He was,
like
yeah,
yeah. That's so
he was good in that.
so for me, Riley Green is like a cool dude. I can listen to him sing. We can go to a bar and he can sing and do his thing. And then we could go play golf and do bro shit. Like he likes to hunt and fish, and I don't necessarily like to, but I do it. You know what I mean?
Right?
And then the character that I like of Chris Hemsworth is going out and like doing hot boy gun shit. It's just bros.
Yeah.
If you have
And
to
then,
explain you're gay, dude, I still love you and accept you. All right. All right.
hey, you know what? Jesus put the man's G spot in the ass for a
Okay,
reason.
listen. Stay away from my ass. That's for
Hey,
anybody
I'm not getting
listening.
anywhere near it.
That's for anybody listening. Matea's poked me in the ass one too many times when I don't have underwear on and basketball shorts, and she's basically penetrated me. Not here
You
for it.
probably enjoyed
No,
it.
I don't. I don't like it. It makes me mad. Like, what is the hot button for you? That is like as soon as somebody touch. Okay, not like a physical button, but like, what is something that somebody pisses you off? Is immediately like you're seeing red. Matea,
Seeing
stop
red?
playing games. Yeah, yeah. Like it just immediately pisses you off.
I necessarily have one. Oh, you call me weird. You call me weird, and I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you?
But you
Me?
are a little
Okay,
bit,
loser.
a little bit. It's
Like,
not. It's not a bad thing.
I can be weird, but like when it comes in like one of those moments where it's like,
You mean weird in the
and
sense of like you do weird shit, or like weird as in like you're like weird, like ew. Why are you acting like
yeah,
that?
yeah, 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 the second one, and it's like I'm going to use every fucking silly goose metaphor I learned in first grade against you, and like there's no coming back. Like don't call me weird in that sense. Like I do weird shit. I do it all the time. But when you're like, oh, you're weird, the phrase "you're weird, bro." All right, you might as well get on the floor because that's where
I
you're
feel
gonna be when
like
I'm
I feel like
done
this
you.
is you're projecting right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there an individual that has told you you're weird, bro, one too many times?
No, it just happened to be the last time we ever talked, and I
Ah,
about drop kicked her.
I see. I
Mm,
see.
yeah, yeah. So there was that.
It's the tism. Oh yeah, Mateo said it's the tism. You got the tism.
Mm, yeah,
It's okay. We're
probably.
weird too. We got the tism.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
Johnson family is the tism, actually.
See, okay, so Matea had already kind of mentioned about bringing her up anyway. I was talking with Ash recently, and I've been telling her for years that she has autism, and she's denied it. And so recently, she's come to the conclusion that she does have autism, and I'm like, yeah, fucking no shit.
It's not a bad thing.
And I'm just like, did you not realize that
You just got a risen with
3
the
years
tism.
ago? Yeah, I'm like, hey, like no one's judging you, but like the reason why you can't eat certain foods and like I can't, like I couldn't wear a like dry fit. Hello,
Oh, it's like she's like a stim, like a sensitive thing. Ah.
bad. And I was like, okay, there was like everything.
With me and Mateo are different on the spectrum though. Like mine is ADHD, which is on the spectrum of autism. Matea's is like what is it, sensory things? Like she like rubbed in ears, and then she gets overstimulated. She's like, "Eh!" She does weird shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
which I like
That's how
it.
Ash is.
It's like a cute thing now.
A cork.
I've
Like,
accepted it. Yeah.
love that. Yeah,
At
and like I
first,
think
I was
you're like
like,
a
"You're
loving
fucking
person to
weird,
accept it.
bro." Yeah. But now it's just like,
Bro, and like
that's my wife.
even through all of like Ash's like little quirks and stuff, I'm like, do you? Do you?
You just gotta let them ride it
But
out.
yeah, do what you gotta do.
But I think E's gonna have the ADHD.
It's genetic. Like, it's
Yeah.
bound to happen.
Which my dad had it, and I mean, granted, until I was in college, I was told that I didn't have it because I can focus on things. And then when I went and got tested, they were like, "That's not how that works," and I was like, "Oh, cool."
When you're hyper focused on something, absolutely, like, you're gonna focus on it.
Well,
But
I'm not hyper. I'm just ADD.
that's what I have.
Yeah. It's honestly kind of a
Yeah.
bitch, honestly.
Like, that's, it always joke between is it me being an Aries or me with my ADD of like why I lose
Not
interest
you
in things
comparing
so
it to a
bad.
fucking astrology sign.
No, but like because they always say like Aries, like if I'm not interested, like if you don't keep it interesting with me, like I'm gonna lose interest. Like you've got to keep me on my toes because if I'm not, then
But they try to, and they
he's
call you
got
weird, and then you start blooping out on
I didn't.
them.
Well, I, I tried to hold back, and then I was like, actually, I don't even care, and I didn't. I was like, I don't care. What am I gonna lose? Nothing.
Funny as fuck. Now I know how to piss Sierra off.
Yeah, that I don't know, and I think it has to come from like I don't know, just the you're weird, bro.
You know, usually it's like a cuss word, like cunt. Usually that sends people over the edge.
Since my mom over the edge. Good luck.
But like that, you're weird, bro. That's the one.
Yeah, like I don't like when people say like fag. That one, but it doesn't like unless it's like and I apologize, a straight white man saying it. Then I'm like, okay, I have some issues. But like if you're gay, do whatever you want. But like a straight white man saying that, I'm like, I will beat the shit out of you.
Listen, I'm not going to say that I say it a lot, but sometimes it's fun to say.
I bet it is.
But it's not like I use it as a
It's like saying
derogatory.
cracker. You
That's
cracker. Like
hilarious. That actually just ruined your argument. If somebody called me cracker, I'd laugh so hard, I'd piss my pants.
but I feel like the only times that I have personally like caught like white men saying it is like to be offensive.
Okay, I see. Well, I guess so. Okay, going off of that, let's have this discussion.
Okay.
I think, hopefully nobody clips this and takes this out of context. I think to an extent, like if you're, I, I guess I use the term bullying because it's like, I guess
Bullying should happen. People need to be bullied.
Oh, okay. So we agree. All right, cool. I think that there's different types of bullying though. Like if you're bullying
Yes.
for somebody for something they can't change. Matea said she loves
You
that
can't
word.
change it.
I swear to God, bro, this is me, reincarnated me, bro. Anyways, if you're bullying somebody for something they can't change, that's different. But if
Correct.
you're giving them shit because you care about them to make them change something or make them better, that's not necessarily bullying. It's like kind of like the endearment. Like it's bullying to the extent, like by definition, but like it's your way of like telling them endearingly, like you need to fix
Like
this problem.
Zoe bullies me all the time. Like my best friend, she comes at my neck, and I'm just like, oh okay, got it. But like it's not
I
coming
would
from like a
say
bad
it's probably mutual. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Um, but like yeah, if the person can't change it, and this is what I like always tell like my kids, if the person can't change it in 30 seconds, you don't need to say it.
30 seconds.
Um,
I get the premise. Like you're telling somebody, yeah, I get it. But like, for example, if I was to bully
for kids,
somebody I cared about, right? If they were like overweight, like severely, like they're gonna die, and I bullied them about being overweight, and then they start to change their ways and like start exercising and eating right, and they start losing weight. That's progress, and that came from me saying, "Hey, you're fat."
that one's debatable because a lot of things in like today's society, and like this is coming from like me dealing with
Right.
other people with like with their health issues
Yeah.
and like weight gain and stuff, and it was not necessarily this person's fault. It was like health issues that were underlying, and it was like she was doing everything she possibly could to help that, but like she's still gaining weight. Like
Right.
she was eating right, she was going to the gym, and it was like all these things. So like still even like in that aspect, like I feel like
Right. Now,
weight still can
again, I
be
think
touched.
the biggest the overseeing part is um like it's situational.
Yeah.
And it comes down to not only the person but also like you knowing them. Like if I was to go up to some random person I don't know on the
Right.
street and be like, "You're fat, you need to lose weight." That's different than me like giving my
Mm-hmm.
boy shit when I know he doesn't have any issues gaining weight or whatever. But he just
Yeah, yeah.
he overeats and is lazy. That's one thing. I don't. I definitely. I'm not condoning it. You going up to anybody on the street and saying, "Hey, you're a fat piece of shit. You need to lose weight." I don't condone that. That is not okay.
Correct.
I think
Correct.
it comes down to the situation, the person, and you knowing their circumstances. That's where it's beneficial.
Like I don't know. I feel like for me to some extent, like bullying can be like a love language in a sense of like that's how you connect with some people. Like you can really joke on somebody and like that be a little love language. Like I'm not gonna flirt with you. I'm gonna bully the shit out of you, and like that's how I'm flirting.
That's fair. Hold on, like 30 seconds. We got an ad, and I don't want anybody to miss out on what we're talking about. If they're not subs, and they get ads. Hey, subs.
Hello.
Sierra, I hear what you're doing over there.
Because my parents don't know. Might now. Who knows?
Okay, we're back. But yes, no, I 100%. I think, granted, one thing that I've learned going through, um, like being like kind of the progress of like being a professional and being a mentor, is that not everybody fits into a certain category, and I can't like I know that this is where I struggle with. I know that not everybody is gonna like me, and I'm cool with that. Like, if you don't like me, that's cool, whatever.
That's your problem.
Right, and I make it very known that at the very start, Ali said she's snitching. Uh, at the very start of like anytime I pick up new employees or whatever it may be, I say I'm gonna tell you how it is and how you need to hear it. Ultimately, know that it's not coming from a place of like me being rude and like disrespectful to you. It's just the only way I know how to do it. So if you have a problem with something I say, definitely come to me. Like, don't go and run off and tell, oh, TJ said this, this, and this, and he's taking shots at me. Because 9 times out of 10, if I'm trying to direct something to you, I'm going to say your name. I'm not going to beat around the bush and say whatever. So I know that that's the case, and everybody kind of responds differently to different ways of leadership. I handle that more like individually. So like when I have my one-on-one meetings, I know that I can't talk to this male the way I talk to this male. You know what I mean? I think that
That's
was the
how I
hardest learning experience.
sure. Yeah. Like I do that a lot with my clients. Like I'll tell them from the jump, like if you don't like cussing, like please just let me know because like I will drop f bombs in
Yeah.
the middle of
Right.
session. I don't. It is what it is. Like my necklace says "fuck off." Like I've had a client notice that and be as in the middle of talking about how both of our like favorite words were "fuck."
Right.
Like it happens, and I'm very much like I will tell you exactly how it is. But like if there's a certain like an older person, I'm probably not gonna address them the same way I am going to address like the same person who's like my age. Like I'm gonna tell the person who's my age like exactly how like the fuck's on my brain.
Right.
Like that's a terrible decision. Are you sure? Like that's maybe we should find another pathway. And then like the older adult, I'm like, you know what? Well, let's figure out a little bit more,
Right.
and I let them figure it out.
Well, I think too that I feel like that's one of the common misconceptions is that cussing is seen as unprofessional, which I can see, but at the same time, like especially when you're dealing with people that are this younger than you, they're talking like that anyways. So like I feel like for me personally, talking to people that work for me the same way that they would talk to me, it's like a certain level of respect. Like they're okay. I know I could tell TJ this, and he's not gonna flip out. Opposed to somebody who's like anal about like talking to them like they're reading out of a dictionary. Like that shit to an extent doesn't get you anywhere.
Right? Like obviously I'm not gonna cuss with a 16-year-old in my office just because I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
no, I'm still an adult, but I'm also like when you hit 18, I'm like, okay, like that changes
Right.
things. But I'm like, I'm gonna talk to you how I don't in like at least in my office how I am with clients. I'm very much like I don't want to be like this professional in your eyes. Like yes, like, in some sense, like I want to be like an expert, but like I'm also you're the expert in your own life. I'm the expert. Like I know the book stuff, but like you're the expert in your own life. So like we're on the same level here. So like if we're both cussing, cool. If you don't cuss, because I have a few clients who don't cuss, like I'm gonna watch my mouth. But like a lot of time, I'm who the fuck is that? Like when they bring up somebody
Right.
new, and they're just like, oh, this is blah 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 blah.
Right. But it's
I'm
it's
like,
how they
okay,
talk
cool.
anyway. So they like
It doesn't
it's
even
like
catch like they
yeah.
don't catch it.
It's a certain like a comfortability. Like they talk that way anyways. Like that's how they're used to getting talked to.
Yeah.
I can't
And I'm
remember. There
very
was.
much like
Go ahead.
I want that person to be like comfortable in my office, and I do that like with anyone. Like my mom gets mad at me because she thinks that I influence my grandma to like cuss because now she cusses all the time, and I'm like, she'll be like that motherfucker, and I'm like grandma, and then my mom's like, see, you did this to her, and I'm like, probably, but here we are.
Yeah, no, I think, granted, I feel like like, especially with my journey in faith, I'm trying to cut back. Like, I definitely stopped using GD, but like,
Mhm.
again, like it
My
feeds
mom will
back
fuck
into, I think cussing is like a form of expression, and there's certain things that you can't express how you feel unless you use fuck.
yeah. Like I will go around. I probably say fuck at least 20 times a day.
But it's just such a dynamic word. You can use it in any context.
Yeah. Like this was so fucking cool, or like what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
Like
or like Fuck me to tears.
Idiot.
Yeah,
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 like no, like yeah, it just fits in
yeah. No, for sure.
every context.
No, for sure. And but I
Like there
think
was
when I talk to people and they're like, "You got to watch how you talk," I'm like, first of all, are you gonna fire me? That's my first question. Because, but
okay,
please pull the trigger.
yeah, go for it.
Secondly, do you think that I have the effectiveness that I have doing my job if I don't talk to kids how they talk to their friends? I promise you, I
No,
don't.
no.
Like, look at me and my coworkers who are very differently engaged in their students, and tell me why that is. Because he sugarcoats shit, and I tell him straight up. Now, granted, when I'm dealing with people that I direct, like I'm a direct supervisor of, and people that I have no like you're an adult, you do your own thing, you have nothing to do with me. My give a fuck meter is way lower.
Yeah,
Like I'm gonna say something because I believe it. You don't have to believe that. That's fine. But at the same time, if you get offended by what I'm saying, you know this is how I talk, and you're 30, so go on somewhere else, please.
yeah. And I'm also like, if I offend someone, like I hope you bring that to me.
Right,
Because I'm very much like, because again, if you don't, that's your own
right,
problem.
right,
Like
right,
that,
right, right.
I will fix it and address it if you bring it to me. But if you don't, then like, no, that's your problem.
Right.
That's not my
Actually,
issue
interesting.
until you
So
bring it to me.
going off of this, granted, I don't. It doesn't bother me, and I don't keep bringing it up. I think it's funny, honestly. That's why I keep bringing it up.
Okay.
But there's a guy that worked in the vicinity of my office, and he told me because the way I deal with shit and the way I talk to people, and like you know how I am, like hard on the outside, soft on the inside. I don't care to talk to you about your feelings. I might not agree with them, but I'm gonna tell you straight up what you need to hear. He said because I tell people what they need to hear and not what they want to hear, that I'm second to Hitler, like the worst people ever. And I'm like, cool. So then he comes to apologize. He's like, hey, like I'm sorry. I know you don't care, but like I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Like I'm sorry. And I said, honest, like whole honesty, like this is how I felt in my heart. I said, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Just like that, right? And he took it as I don't give a fuck, like fuck you, right? And I was like, that's not how I meant it. Like I don't care, bro. I don't. That's
Yeah.
your opinion. If that's how you think I'm second to Hitler, then there's nothing I can do to change that.
Right. Like, what am I gonna do?
Right,
Convince you? No.
right. Like
We're
what?
just wasted breath.
Right. Like what, you want me to like fall over and cry and be like, no, don't take that of me. That's not how I roll, bro. If you don't like me,
Yeah.
that's fine. You don't have to like me. But like
Like
second to
it's
Hitler is fucking insane.
that's crazy actually. Like, which honestly, okay, just to bring this up because I think it's so funny. We can go back to that because I think it's very interesting. But just because second to Hitler and like there was Ash had been talking to this girl recently and she called her a frat boy fuck. And honestly, that is now my new favorite thing to call people is you fucking frat boy fuck. And I'm
That's
just
pretty
like,
good. That's pretty
who
good.
comes up with that?
That's
But
good.
like, you 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 ate her up with that. But like,
Yeah, that is funny.
damn.
That's good. Now, granted,
Okay.
I think to an extent though, that's what would you say?
Honestly, if you were gonna call either one of me and Ash a frat boy fuck, it would definitely be me.
Yeah, but no, at that
I
point
was
though,
like,
are we're stereotyping because a lot of out of all the frat boys, they're not all those fuckheads, but a lot of them are.
yeah, yeah, you know. And so she said that, and I was like, why are we still talking to this
That
girl
is
for
good
one?
though.
But also, like, she really did eat you up with that.
But
Like,
at the same time, like, if I was to use that, I would make it known that I'm not saying that all frat boys act like that, but there's certain frat boys that do, and you're that frat boy.
and you know exactly which one
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah. The fucking
Like, you are
basketball jersey on backwards with Sperry's and khaki shorts that come above your
in
knee.
his like jug
Yeah.
of whatever hooch they made up. Like, yeah, like that's you.
Oh
And
shit,
he's dancing like this at the party. Like that is what. Yeah,
that's
for sure.
hilarious. A backwards polo hat. Oh, that's good.
Might have this the no like maybe the khakis with like the Simply Southern shirt on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's more. Well, it depends on the day. You know, frat parties have like themes to the party.
True.
That is a funny insult though. You frat boy fuck.
I was like, oh,
That's good.
Damn.
You're like,
Yeah.
you went into your notes and added to your Rolodex of insults.
It did. I was like, I did help her out though. She's not talking to that girl anymore because she was like, I can't set boundaries with her. She's so mean. So I took her phone and was texting this girl, and I was like setting boundaries, and she was like, I think we're both a little unstable right now.
Unhinged.
I was like, no, I'm setting boundaries with you. Like, I'm fine. I'm sitting at Malone's, texting your ass.
No, it's hilarious.
On my ex's phone. Like, fuck off. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah, but back to your Hitler comment of just like people. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time, like, you can say something and someone's going to take it one way, and it's just like, you can take it whatever way you want, but again, if you don't bring it up to me, it's a one-sided beef right now. That's all.
And ultimately, like, my thing is, I know that I'm an acquired taste. I know that not everybody's going to like me, and the way the way my brain works and the way I view things is not the same as everybody. I understand that. I'm self-aware in that sense. I'm not going to go out of my way to force something on you that you don't believe in. You have your way of thinking. I have mine. That's all fine and dandy. But what we're not going to do is you're not going to tell me how I need to act and carry myself. Because I'm sure the way you're acting and carrying yourself is no better. You're just doing it a different way. Yeah. But
it's like
I said, not offended by it. I was like, that's fucking insane that you would say.
Oh.
Because you don't like me, or you don't think that the way I talk to people is humane, or whatever the fuck word you would use. It's wild.
Yeah. Like, again, if I'm talking to somebody and they have an issue with it, stay out of it.
Right.
Like, you're some random person. Like,
right.
Me and them apparently, obviously have like some form of way that we communicate. And if you don't like that, like, don't communicate.
What they say in grade school, this is A and B conversation. See your way the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think they say that part in grade school.
But no, that's fine. I probably was. But I think too, like, my thing is like with my growth and development club, there's certain people that I know not to ask to come because I know that they are not gonna either be comfortable or like get what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Like a lot of the guys that come out are more like the same headspace. Like, they know that they have to do shit that sucks 90% of the time, and they really just need somewhere to go to be like, okay, let me talk about this. Let me get this different way of thinking, and then go from there. There's certain people that I'm like, I appreciate you wanting to come. I don't think it's for you. By all means, come. Like, I'm not gonna tell you not to, but there's this chance that I'm gonna say something you're not gonna like, and I don't want that to come back and you be like, you're second to Hitler. Just don't come. I appreciate it. When we host events, by all means, show your face, cool, whatever. But like when it comes to meetings and I'm talking to these men about issues that they're facing, and I'm giving my advice on shit that I've been through, either you're gonna look at me and say, okay, yeah, TJ's a piece of shit, or you're gonna be like, you're telling these kids the wrong thing. You should do this, this, and this. And either one, I don't want.
Yeah, but I think that all comes back to like perspectives, and like this is someone else's perspective on like how they've gone through all their shit. And it's like, okay, well, you don't talk to people like that. You don't do these sort of things. And it's like, okay, like, thank you for expressing that.
What do we do now?
I'm happy you don't. Yeah, like, I'm happy you don't do that. Like, if that's how you carry yourself, if that's how you want to carry yourself, glad that's how you're doing it. But that's how I'm carrying myself. Right.
And I think, too, like, I have a pastor coming on the pod next week. And I put out like a poll. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook and Twitter, like asking people their biggest. Yeah. So. So one thing that I've gotten from that, because I put it in some group chats and stuff too. The biggest thing that I think I've gotten from that is the hypocrisy side of religion. Which 100% I'm here for hypocrisy, like being a hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh God.
So 100%. Granted, that's one of the things too that kind of. I wouldn't say I was ever atheist. I'd say I was more agnostic. Like, I had a feeling there was something there, but like I didn't know enough. So that was a big point for me too, is like, how can somebody claim that they're this God-fearing, God-loving person, but like judge all these people for what they do? I think the biggest thing when it comes to religion that people, like, as much as you were to preach and tell people this, and this, it's like, I don't think there'll ever be a time that it changes. But if I could say one thing to Christians for them to understand people that live different lives, is just because to you what they're doing is a sin, it doesn't mean it's your sin. I know the goal is to spread the word of Jesus Christ and try to get people to heaven, like to believe in him. But you judging them and telling them that everything they're doing is wrong isn't going to get them there.
See you in hell then.
Yeah.
I'll see you at the lowest level of hell.
And that
'Cause
is
if you're judging me, we're going together.
right. Right. No, literally. That's what I'm like you've been to Louisville games. You see those guys with the megaphone telling people that they're going to hell.
Sir, I've been to Pride. They're standing out there all the time.
Right. So at that point, you're going to hell too, bro. One of the biggest factors of Christianity is judgment, and you're judging all these people. You think if Jesus is walking the earth, you think he's going up to gay people like you're going to hell? No, he's going to show them love and tell them like, hey, this, and this, like, believe in me. Fuck what everybody else is saying. Believe in me.
But again, I think in today's society, if Jesus were to ever walk this earth, he'd be in a mental hospital.
Because of how crazy it is?
No. Just because of the way that people, the way that so many Christians have now started viewing Christianity, like, those people would be like, oh, he's crazy because, like, he's trying to, like, help all these people and, like, do all these things. Like, he's crazy. He's batshit.
Right. So you're saying you think Christians would feel that way?
I think, like, those hardcore
Bible thumpers?
Yes. Would be like, oh, he's crazy.
Huh.
And it's, oh, he's being, like, doing too much. Like, he's, like, that sort of thing. It's also, how many times, I know when I was working at the Brook, there would be people be like, I'm Jesus. And
right.
It's like, okay, well, here you are.
I think that's interesting. I think I saw a video of a guy talking about Jesus and how, granted, pro-America, I don't think that's a question, hence the American flag, but he was talking about how the past Americas have like twisted the words of Jesus to Americanize him. And he was talking about,
he's not a white man.
Right. But they were talking about more like the fact of like we used the scripture to like narrate our own idea of what Jesus is. In reality, if Jesus was here, he wouldn't care if somebody was black, brown, purple, whatever. He loves them. Like, he'd wash their feet. He'd wash their servants' feet. That's what he did. Like, regardless if somebody committed sin, like, Jesus is still going to love them. But the fact that is the core issue, I feel like, with Christianity. Like, at the end of the day, you can think being gay is a sin or cussing is a sin. But at the end of the day, it's coming out of my mouth, not yours. So you can pray for me and do what you do in your own time, but don't tell me that I'm going to hell and I need to change my ways because you're judging me and then you're going to hell.
Yeah. And that was like a big thing when, like, we had our when I was a part of the big the social media aspect of my past relationship, we would get those comments all the time.
It's just sick.
Like, oh, you need to repent,
right.
you need to do all these things.
Right.
And it was like, why do you assume that I believe in your God, for one? Like, I'm glad you do, and I'm glad you have that faith in something, and like that motivates you. But like, please don't push that onto me. And I remember like commenting that like to multiple people. It's like, aren't you like part of like the whole religion is like not to not push it onto people, but it's like you're supposed to be like practicing your shit in private. Hang on.
It's not necessarily when people say like to pass on the word of Jesus Christ. That's the ultimate. Your task as a Christian is to try to bring as many people to Christ as you can. But if you're telling people this is the way, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're going to hell, that's not doing that. You're shaming them.
That's pushing me like farther away from it.
Right. And I mean, even if you look at just when Jesus is getting crucified and he's on a cross next to two criminals, and one of them is basically like blasphemy, like, you're not Jesus, whatever, like, you're here with us, you're a normal person. And Jesus says, like, forgive them, they don't know what they've done. Like, the Romans especially knew what they were doing. They're killing this man. But for the fact that he's on the cross and he's thinking bigger than himself in the sense of like they don't know what they're doing. Like they don't understand. Like I'm basically dying for their sins too. That's to me like that like there's not an amount of love in this world like that. You know what I mean? Like for somebody to be so nasty and hateful to you and you to be like forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that common like a lot of people that claim to be Christian, they I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if it's like they just have deep dive so much into the physical words of the Bible and not what Jesus is actually saying or what, but it's just like there's a disconnect, bro. Like you're trying so hard to push people instead of guiding them. Like it's not the same.
Yeah. And like even like last night, because I remember it popping up on my shit and just being like, why is this coming up? And it took me, I had to watch it 2 or 3 times because I was like, hang on, it was from a church like page, and it was very much like hateful. And I was like, I've never seen a church post like I've seen churches, say hateful shit and like they have like their little videos and like those get posted. But like this church like using children in the video to post like about like how being gay is not right, not even going into the church. Like if you're doing your like Bible study like at home, like that was bad. And it was like all these things that were just like sin after sin for them, and they were just like this is so bad. And I was like, and you want people to come to your church
Right.
and like you're using kids to like push this?
Right.
Like that's insane.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think that a lot of comes with too like how it's branched off into like certain groups, like certain denominations believe in different things, like the different messages in the Bible, and then they branch off into their own. And that's why I, I was, what I say, devout. I know Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, right? I choose not to go to church. There's actually a quote, and I keep saying it, but it literally just sticks with me all the time. Guy said that if you think that Satan's not going to churches, you're wrong. He said, if you think Satan's only at the bars and the bad places, you're wrong because he already knows he has those people. So he's going to churches and the places where these holy people are because he knows he's got to win those people over.
Yeah. Like your past. Oh, never mind. I'm good. No.
I would say some pastors have their own self agendas. I believe that too. But for me, I read the Bible like Genesis and all these people are out in the world and they're giving glory to God in like they're not going to a church. Like this is before churches were a thing. So they're like going to mountains and like giving praise to God that way. That's how I choose to praise God. And it's for me it's personal. Like doesn't mean that I don't talk about people. Fucking if you had said, "Hey, TJ, you're gonna be talking to Sierra about God," wouldn't have believed you. But at the same time,
especially with you being like this so far into it now, because like back in the day, you were like, "Yeah, no."
And it came down to I think the biggest factor for me was like I lost my dad and my grandma. Mm-hmm. My grandma I used to go to church with all the time, and at the time, as a 14-year-old kid, I couldn't wrap my brain around it. Like, why? As an adult, I see it now as God is real and he is stronger than anything I've ever known. Who am I to question his plan? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, when it goes to anything religion-wise, why do you think yeah, you're a part of God, but why do you think you have the power to judge what God is doing? Like you're so small compared to him.
Yeah.
That's ultimately where I came to my understanding. Like not everything's for us to understand.
But then you know how I stand on these subjects. But then I'm like, okay, so what about free will?
What about it?
Like, is that not what that is? Like you're saying, oh, it's God's plan, it's free will. And that's how I view it, and that's okay.
Wait, in what sense though?
That like, okay, yes, there's a plan, right? Like, okay. But also you have free will.
Yeah. God gave us free will.
So what about the rest of the earth that doesn't have free will, that can't do everything that we do in America? Yeah.
They still have free will.
But,
Are you
like,
thinking
no, but
you're thinking free will as in like a something that the government gives you, like freedom?
like autonomy of like your body and like that sort of thing, not just like that. I'm thinking like Taliban over there doing their whole thing. Um, that sort of free will.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I don't. I guess I don't understand what you're asking me, or like what you're saying. Because for me, so free will for me is you have the freedom to choose what you do. Granted, I think
Then you still have your consequences.
right, and ultimately, a
Of
lot of
like,
those consequences we may not see in our earthly bodies. You know what I mean? Or
right.
that consequence may be you're standing at heaven's gates, and God says, "I never knew you. Depart from me." You get sent to hell. That may be your judgment. Now, ultimately, that comes back. That's one of the struggles I have is judgment. For me, there's not
Mm-hmm.
a worse crime you can commit than a crime against a child or a woman. But at the same time, if someone was to commit that crime and I've judged them, that's a sin. Would God do the same thing? You know what I mean?
Well, okay, I hear you on that, but then that makes you. So what's the difference like with courts and stuff
Again,
going
well,
on
same
trial?
premise, same premise. But at the same
Okay,
time, though, I guess a
do
lot
you
of
go to
that.
jail? Do you go to hell for judging them for trial? I never thought about that actually. That kind of put a little.
Wait, what is it? So I
I
was
never
reading.
thought
I
about
was reading
it like
chat.
that. The
And
sense of if you're judging someone because they're on trial, do you go to hell for that?
well, I mean,
Is that a,
we'll
is
see.
that kind of a sin?
But we're talking about a like a like a facet of society that was established after Jesus.
I mean, that makes
Like
sense.
at
Okay.
the times, now granted, like when Jesus walked the earth, Romans had their own. I mean, Jesus went through trial and they fucking crucified him because he claimed he basically used blasphemy against the Lord because he said that he was the son of God. I am God and I am man. But in that sense, I think that's where it comes back to like it's bigger than us. So like in that factor of like, oh okay, this is my job, whatever it may be. Like I make decisions based on. I think if you're making the right decisions, granted, we're getting into that gray area of like
Yeah.
I send somebody to prison for the rest of their life. Is that God's plan or is that my plan because they did something wrong?
Right.
Which I'm not saying. Ultimately, this is the factor that kind of takes the stress away from me, is that as much as we cherish life on planet, like on Earth, like our day to day life, we love to be able to wake up and interact with friends and do all this fun shit and live. This life doesn't matter. That's the overlying thing. Like in Christianity, like as long as you do right by God, you have eternal life. So one of the underlying cases for me of like why I try to encourage people I love to follow Jesus is just simply because when you get to heaven, if you get to heaven, anybody who gets into heaven, you will remember. But anybody that doesn't get into heaven, you don't have any memory of. So
Okay.
if this body doesn't matter, it matters in the sense of like doing the right things Christian based, right? Like loving thy neighbor and spreading the word of Jesus and whatever form of worship you do. That matters. But like the sense of like I put on pink instead of blue today. Like that stuff doesn't matter. Like
Right.
the positive impacts matter because as long as I guess in the sense of the Bible, like you're living right and you go to heaven and those who you love go to heaven, then you have all those good memories with you. But
Okay.
at the same time, eternal life is just that. Like it's the only way they would describe it on an earthly scale would be like a miracle. So it's only good. There's nothing bad there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like internal life sounds like shit.
But like in the sense of like if you look at I think I get what you're saying. Like Like,
I'm
so
good.
you're
I've lived
thinking
my life.
you're thinking on the sense of like what life we live. But if somebody was like, "Hey, what's eternal life to you?" Like, if you could live one thing every day, like you never get tired of it, what is it?
God, nothing. That sounds awful.
There's nothing that you love to do.
Eat crab legs, but like I also don't want to do that every day.
That's fair, but I think a lot of it comes into like the human body of like, I know that I
I
like
like that.
doing this, but I'll get burnt out on it. But
Okay,
if,
and I'm very much
but
like
if,
I've started to branch out on like
right,
I want variety. If
yeah,
I have to do the same thing every day, absolutely the fuck
but
not.
that's fair.
Send me to the
But
lowest level of hell and let me burn.
what about this way? What if it's like eternal life? Granted, I can't tell you what eternal life is, you know,
Yeah.
but if you look at it as in eternal life and like you get to spend time with the people you love every day and you get to play fetch with your dog every day
See,
and
they
you
need
get
no
and
accent
you
in there.
and you
Damn, that was low
and you
blow.
get to lay in bed and cuddle up with somebody every day and then you go to sleep and then you forget that the previous day happened, so it's not like you're reliving the same thing every day. Like it's a refresh, like you have no recollection of what you did the day before.
I feel like they made a movie about that and Adam Sandler was in it.
You talking about bedtime story?
No, the one with the blonde girl in it, and she like lost her in the
50
car
First
accident.
Dates.
She lost her memory. There we go. Hello.
But no,
She was driving herself nuts.
yeah. Well, he was, but he had a recollection of it. She had no clue that he made her love every day.
But then she was annoyed with him because like she had no idea who this person was. So, like, how do you know you even love that person if you don't remember? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but again, we're talking about our human bodies. Like it's different, bro.
Yeah. I'm very much just like I'm good. I'm chilling. You know, I comes to religion and I think I fought so much like with my family on it because for so many years we had like this family reunion in like Virginia and like it was you would have to go to church as a kid. I hated it. Oh my god. The pastor was great. Loved him. Can't remember his name. But like he was good. He was from Australia. Great guy. Hated it. And then there would be like those random, holidays. My mom would be like, "Oh, we're gonna go with your aunt," because like my aunt goes all the time, and hated it. Oh my, like I'm just like, I don't get anything from this. Like this, it gives me nothing but like almost shame in a way because it's like, oh, here's all these things, and it's like I still, if I can't see it physically or understand the science behind it, it makes no sense to me.
So do you feel like you're more atheist or more agnostic?
I
Like
wouldn't say I'm atheist.
do you
I
feel
feel
there's
like
like
there's some.
there's a power there?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, there's something, but I wouldn't necessarily say like Christianity's it.
that's fair.
Like, and I don't know if that's just because, especially in like today's world, it's been so far pushed, and it's been so far pushed.
The
In,
wrong narrative.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
I
like
get it.
okay, if it was like what it was, maybe back in the day, I don't know, but to know that and from my perspective as a gay woman, of okay, to lie with man as you yada yada whatever wasn't in the Bible until a certain point because it used to be like lie with boy
Right.
as in okay you're not sleeping with underage kids. That's where I have like the issue. It's like okay it plays into someone's narrative. I don't like that.
Yeah, I get that. And granted, kind of that was my honestly my like this is bigger than me moment was Evie. Like
Yeah.
the like overwhelming feeling of like, bro, you think like granted, if you really look at the Bible, I've committed one of the greatest sins in pride. Up until 26, I thought or 25, I thought everything I've done in my life was because I've worked hard. And that's pride. That's like one of the biggest sins you can commit. I have Evie and like the moment like in the room, like the way it felt, I was like this is bigger than me. Like there's no reason why a guy that's done the things I've done in my life should have one be able to even make this child, but for the child to live and breathe and be happy and be in my presence. That for me is all I needed to feel. I was like, this is bigger than me.
Then, like, to me, it's like, well, why would I think self esteem issues then? Like, the fact that it's like, oh, well, I don't deserve these things because of the things I've done in the past. And so I'm like, okay, well, so check the self esteem. Even if it can come off as high and like really, really strong, it's like, well, why are you questioning that if you deserve this or not?
So is that what it is? Is like a why me?
That's what it, to me, like just hearing that, that's where my mind went.
Okay, it's
I was like,
interesting you
I don't
say
even
that.
know this.
So one of my favorite books in the Bible right now that I'm kind of obsessed with it is the book of Job. So Job is like
Okay.
this as close to perfect as a human being can be. He's always caring for other people. He's always doing right, loving his neighbor. He worships. He does all the things that Jesus says you need to do. And he's content on doing these things. Like he loves to do them. He loves to make people feel loved. He likes to take care of people. He goes out his way to help people. But every time Job runs into a situation where he gets something good, it gets taken away from him. So he says to Jesus, why me? And Jesus says, why not you? I give you, you give me every reason to believe in, or I give you every reason to believe in me, and you believe in me. And everything that bad happens, you turn to me and worship me. Why would I not make an example out of you? It's not out of spite. Like, it's not like he's being spiteful, like, oh, yeah, you could take it, whatever. Like, it was more the factor of, Allie. It was more the factor of him being like, you're an example of how people should react. You shouldn't turn around and say, fuck you, you did this to me, you put me through this situation. It should be, thank you for the opportunity. And then let me pass this
Yeah.
on as positive. Which that's ultimately like the core of what the Bible is things that I guess like subconsciously we do as humans. Especially if you're like in the right mindset of like, this happened. Kind of like what you were going off of earlier, like, well, I'm still alive. You know what I mean? Like I still have breath in my lungs. Like I can still do good. Like it sucks, but it's not going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and like, I don't know. For me, it's just like, okay, so you had shit luck that day or whatever day. Like at some point, like something good was happening.
So you think it's more like for you, it's less. You think it's more like energies, like it's like positive and negative energies.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's where I was at.
And it's like, it took me a long time to get to too. I was very much like, it is what it is. Like that was all I ever said in high school is it
It
is what
is
it
what it
is.
is.
God. And
Allie,
so
you
I
heard that a
finally
couple
went out.
times.
I feel like that was my bio for a long time because like it is what it is. But I've finally gotten like out of like that stage of life because it's not it is what it is. Like I think we as people have because of free will have a say in what's going
Right.
on.
But you feel
So
like
it's
everything happens for a reason.
yeah,
Like this happened, this bad happened, so this good could happen.
yeah.
The fundamentals are
Like
there.
yeah, like well, but it's like me and Ash broke up so that I could figure out what the fuck I like of life. Like hello,
Maybe just focus on yourself, maybe.
what I've been trying.
And not do deranged things like get drunk every night and pass out. Just a
Don't pass
thought.
out.
Not anymore.
Hang on.
But anyways,
Hang on.
let's
Hang
transition
on.
because you kind of touched on back in the day. But what's your favorite memory with me?
God, whenever I think of you, I think of either there's two memories that come to mind right off the bat, and it's always the one of that little old red car that you had, and we were
Oh,
in
the
the
Volvo?
yes, and
Ah,
the
I know what story you're
basketball
about to tell.
team, boys basketball team. I don't know if you do because the boys basketball team had made it to
At
like the
Valley.
turn. No, it was to Bullet East.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I do. Yeah,
It was
yeah. And it
pouring
was
down
raining.
rain and
Yeah.
your windshield wipers didn't work and neither did your
No,
speed
no, no, no,
gauge.
no, no. The windshield wipers worked, but as I was driving, remember it came off.
Oh, that yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and I
that
couldn't
was
keep them on. I was gonna break the
amazing.
window.
Yes. And then you had, because your speed thing didn't work, you
Yeah.
had the Snapchat filter on
Yeah.
your leg.
Yeah.
And you're like, if we go fast enough, the water will go off the windshield.
Damn.
And that's how we got to Bullet East.
Damn.
And then, yeah, that one was crazy.
That's the same
And then
Volvo that got stolen out of the Fern Creek parking lot. And then they found it like 2 weeks later, and somebody had like ran out of gas because the fucking dashboard didn't work, so they didn't know they needed gas. And then they
yeah,
fucking left it, and then we had to go to the car wash to clean all the cigarette butts out because I was gonna have an allergic reaction.
because all the tobacco.
Yeah,
in
all the
it.
blacks in there.
Yes.
Yeah, wild times. All
Yeah.
right, what's the other one?
The other one is the one we went to the park
And I kept
you
turning the
turned
lights off.
And you're like, yeah.
I told you I do that to Mateo the other day.
No.
So she lives like her neighborhood is like right next to a farm, and it's like a real tight street.
Talking about the neighborhood, like where her parents live?
Yeah. So that street that you come in on, we were driving down that, and I was like, "Hey, you want to see what I used to do Sierra in high school?" And she was like, "What?" And I turned the lights off, and it was pitch black, bro. And she's like, "Terrence, stop! Turn them back on."
That's about exactly what I said. I would
Yeah.
say,
Well, it's a little different now. Like we got responsibilities. We got a child that we can't just leave. Back then, it was like, if we die, we die.
God, and you'd be like, at least we died together.
But also at the same time, like, worst case, what, we run off the road and I'll lock the brakes up. Like we would know a car was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but those also had like big curves.
Yeah.
You would have taken.
Well, you think I was fucking turning the lights off going around a curve? No, I'm not a fucking idiot. I was using straightaways.
Hey, I don't know. In my brain, we were going through all the curves. Like,
You would.
you would go like this.
Yeah.
That's what the turns were.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, no, we have to get ready to die.
Yeah, dude, that's actually crazy. I forgot that I combined the lights off with the fucking swerving back and forth.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, fuck.
he was risking it.
I can't remember. It wasn't you. I want to say one time it was I had somebody with me, bro, and we went out in the woods. Like we had went up that track, and it was nighttime, and we started walking down into the woods, and then we heard a fucking tree branch, and we like have our phone cameras out, right? So like walking, hear the crunch of a branch. I'm gone, right? I get to the top of the hill and I look back and I don't see anything, and I'm like, bro, where the fuck did she go? So I like start walking back down, and she's literally just frozen with the camera light pushed against her chest. And I was like, bro, you have no sense of fight or flight. You were about to die. You were to die
I feel
here.
like that couldn't have been Cass.
Oh, bro, I dead ass would have got in the car and left, and they called the police like, yo, she's out there.
Come pick this girl up.
She's out there. You gotta find her. That's on me.
Look.
Oh
somewhere
shit.
around this
Bro,
area,
I can't remember who
but-
that was, but that shit was wild. I was like, bro, are you dead ass? Are you trying to die?
I would have beat your ass to the car.
Top
shit.
top of the list of people that I don't want to be in a horror movie with. You just
Obviously.
freeze up, so I gotta
Well,
die.
honestly, no. I'd have been like, yeah, I want to be in a horror movie with you because they're gonna be worried about you, and I'm taking
You
the
got
fuck off.
you got a point.
Please.
I'm up out of there.
Yeah, it's like why when I get in the ocean, I'm always gonna get in the ocean with someone that I know swims slower than me.
Bitch, we were in Florida. I was in the ocean with you.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of other people.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And also, they were very fucked up on that trip. And I 100% would have left you to survive.
Oh, Mike, that day was a day.
I would have mourned you so well.
You'd have just been swimming. Yeah. You'd been like,
Good
"Goodbye."
ass. And then
Oh,
I'd have been
we
on the
watched
beach
it
like,
with
she was a
you.
good one. Fuck.
And you left me
Yeah.
to die on my own.
Don't worry, that guy, that old dude that was obsessed with you, he would have jumped in and saved you.
There's two of them.
Yeah, they would have jumped the shark. You're good.
They definitely would have. Might have lost a leg or something, but I think they would have
Yeah.
definitely taken him on.
I mean, you've seen, what's that movie where the girl gets attacked by a shark and loses her arm?
Oh,
Chat? Anybody?
surf something?
Is it surf? No, it's not Surf's Up.
No. I know what you're talking about. The little blonde girl that does surfing.
Yeah. And the shark bit her fucking arm and board. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can live with that arm, a limb. I'm sure it'd fuck you up. You know Q lost a toe. You don't know this?
Did he have it at the wedding?
Yes. This is like a couple
He
months.
just recently lost
A couple
it?
months ago, yeah.
When?
Fuck. he was cutting the grass, and his front yard has like a ditch line, and he had like 5 feet left to cut, and instead of like pushing the mower up, he decided to like go down the hill, and he went down the hill, and it was slick, so he slid underneath the lawnmower, and he said the lawnmower like it's like a push mower, and the lawnmower was like mid thigh, and his first thought was like, this is gonna cut my dick off. So he throws the lawnmower, and it lands directly on his foot. And then he's like my legs are good. I got my legs. We're cool. And he looks down. He sees a big ass chunk out of his shoe. So he pulls his shoe off, and his second toe is like hanging on by a nerve. And then he like is yelling for help for like 30 minutes. And he lives in a holler, so like nobody's around. So he like hops across the street to like get help. And some guy comes out and gives him a towel, like those like hard textured bath towels. He gives him one of those to wrap his foot up in. And Q said that when he put the towel on his foot, he could feel his toe like disconnect, like it came off completely. And then
Ew.
Soul Surfer, that's what it's called. Good looks, Allie. So then the ambulance comes into the holler to get him. And then they get him in the ambulance, like, hey, are you in pain? He's like, yeah. And they're like, okay, do you want something for the pain? He's like, I don't want anything crazy. And they're like, we got baby aspirin or we got fentanyl. So he's like, well,
Oh my god.
he's like,
Okay.
he's like, fuck, I guess give me fentanyl. So they give it to him, and then the fucking ambulance gets stuck. And then somebody has to pull the ambulance out. And then when he gets to the hospital, they're like, hey, are you in pain? And he was like, yeah, they gave me fentanyl, but I can still feel that my fucking toe's not there. And then they were like, okay. So then they check his arm, and then they didn't even put the fucking fentanyl in his vein. So then he goes
So
in
he's
this.
gone this whole time with no
Yeah,
medication.
literally. Like at least a 30-minute ride to the hospital. And then they put him under to do surgery, and he has like a cut on his big toe, a cut on his third toe, and his second toe is completely gone. And they were like, they like do surgery or whatever, and he wakes up and they're like, look, we saved your big toe, but like we couldn't put your second toe back on. And he's like, all right, cool, as long as my big toe's good. And they basically told him like, hey, like make sure you do this, like stay off your feet for this many days. And then he was fucking walking on it like a dumbass, and then they were scared he was gonna lose his big toe. But now he's good. He just looks like a Ninja Turtle.
Oh my god. How did I miss that?
Yeah, I don't know, but he posted it on Snapchat. Like he was like, picture. At least he put a warning, like, hey, I cut my toe off. If you don't want to see it, like, swipe, and then
Yeah.
fucking toe bleeding, like fresh, like just happened. Like took a picture at the hospital.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But like he's like
Yeah.
he every time you see him now and he like takes his sock off, he's like, you can't tell, and I'm like, you could tell, bro. You're missing a fucking toe. Like
See,
it's not
I
like
almost did that.
a look like, oh, something's wrong with that foot. It's like a look, and then you look back like, wait a minute.
Hang on. There's something missing. Yeah. No, like I was in like 5th grade and I almost cut my thumb off. Cut a watermelon. Like the neighborhood kids. And I had like this small ass dull knife and this baby watermelon, and I was like,
Yep.
and then I like grabbed my thumb, and my parents like, my mom freaking out, and my dad's like, just get in the car, Ange. Like, you're wasting time trying
Well,
to get ready for the hospital.
If you were
'cause your
curious,
thumb's about to
when
fall
you
off.
sell knives, that's the number one selling point, is that once the knives gets dull, they're more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because then you gotta like put effort into cutting some shit.
Yeah. Like, a dull knife is never good.
Yeah, and I mean like it healed fine. Like you just have a scar.
Like, we're good. It's still here.
I almost cut the tip of my pinky off. Do
Doing
you want
what?
to? You want to hear how it actually happened, or how I told my mom it happened?
I think how you told your mom, and then how it actually.
Okay, so I told my mom that I was trying to close the kitchen drawer where the knives were, and it was stuck, and I like pulled it out, and the knife cut my finger. And it was like literally the whole tip of my pinky, like cut across my fingernail to mid pinky. I just super glued it, like I didn't say anything, and then she asked what happened to it. But what actually happened was I had a pocket knife and it was stuck, and I was trying to close it, and I was like pushing it against the counter. And granted, as an adult, that was fucking stupid of me. And if I had went dead as like knowing what I know now, if I had went to my dad and been like, "Yo, I cut my finger trying to close a pocket knife," and explain how it happened, my dad would have laughed in my face. But yeah, I just super glued it. It was cool. Like I recently actually just lost the scar from it, but I almost cut my whole pinky tip off.
Do you remember when I was at your house?
Here we go. Do you
I don't
remember
know
when?
what
Nothing ever good comes from that sentence.
I don't know what had gone on in my life at this point in time, but I remember being so upset about something and you coming and picking me up. I don't even know from where.
Well, also, I remember you being blooped out mad at one girl one time in the gym, and you were cussing her out, and I was holding you back with one arm because you were like 109 pounds, and I was like, you need to chill out. And
Yeah.
then the bitch was just standing. I was like, do you want me to let her go?
Because I will. Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. That was me in high school. That's the angry side. But no, I don't. I think I had like. I was not angry at that point. I think I was definitely feeling the emotion of sadness at that point. And you'd come and pick me up. And doing. Your mom was like, as long as you guys stay here, it'll be fine if you
Oh
guys
yeah, we
drink.
were drinking. Yeah, sounds about
And
right.
then you had like that blue Gatorade with vodka
Tequila.
in
It was
it.
tequila.
Oh my god. And it was
Damn.
frozen. We were like licking the top of it.
Damn.
It was fucking gross.
I
And
want to
then
say fucking.
that was
I want to say we didn't drink all of that, and then Allie was at my house one time, and she drank it as well.
God. It was fucking
Oh
awful.
man,
Yeah, no, that was a time.
gnarly. That was when I was still drinking with clear.
Oh, I know.
Bad
The
time.
girl I've been talking to like tequila, and I'm just like, please, and she's like, let's just shots of tequila, and I'm like, no.
Honestly, I think the best tequila to drink, as long as it's cold, like frozen, is Terramana. It's just like water.
I don't know. I get the shit from Costco.
Well, I took a shot of Terramana one time and it was frozen, and I thought I poured it down the front of me. It was so smooth, and it doesn't
Send
have
me a
like the
picture of it. I
aftertaste.
want to try it now.
It's the rocks.
Rocks.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Oh, the rock. Okay.
But also, you don't drink the fucking gold, right?
The gold what? I don't drink
Tequila.
anything if it's not dark.
I will say, I don't really drink anymore. Very rarely. I had a fucking Coors at the bar, and I was like,
I will say I've been drinking Mick Ultras during this, so
I saw that.
I got my Costco 32 count box, so
And also, for a fifth, it's only $35, which is pretty good.
that's not bad.
But yeah, no, I had a Coors Light at my boss's going away party, and then I turned around and was like, they were like, we're drinking, and I'm like, I don't drink. I was like, I'll do a shot. So I got a shot of Jack, and I took a shot of Jack, and I was like, Jack's fucking ass.
Yeah.
I was like, it tastes like somebody put a cigarette out in it. Why did I just run my sentences together like that? I figured out today that that's why people have trouble understanding Louisville accents, is that we smash our sentences together.
Yeah. Which I will say, I feel like my accent, now that me and Ash have been broken up, has slowly started to fade, and I love it.
What accent? Your Louisville accent?
Right? I've always said I don't have one, and then I get people that be like, "Oh, you sound so country," and I'm like, "I'm
Well,
literally
see,
from Louisville."
but no, it's different. There's not. So if you go like north, like I went to fucking Colorado. When I was in Colorado for that summer, everybody told me I had a thick Southern accent. So me being an asshole, I played it up and I'm talking like this. But I just talked to a guy from Illinois today, and he said that I didn't have an accent compared to people in Kentucky, and I was like, my guy.
No, I used to have one. Like when me and Ash were going to like Eastern Kentucky all the time, I had one. It was pretty thick, and then it's faded over time. But like I went through the McDonald's drive-through like over by like your mom's house the other day, and I would order it and I pulled up to the window and he was like, "You sound exactly how your voice sounds." Or you look exactly how your voice sounds, and I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Beautiful," and I was like, "I
Oh
thought he
my!
was getting ready to make fun of me
He
for an
macking,
accent."
bro. He's macking at the McDonald's
I
drive-through.
was like,
Hey,
I'm thinking he's gonna
Allie,
make fun
chill
of
out.
me.
Chill out on me.
I can't even read the comments, so like I have no idea what would be
She
going
said,
on.
Allie said they were country as fuck.
Who?
Allie said that.
We are?
Yeah, apparently.
Still on me.
But that actually just brought me PTSD. You were talking about McDonald's in your voice. I remember pre-puberty, like before I hit that growth spurt, my voice was real like high pitched, and I was at that
Mhm.
McDonald's, and dude hit me with a yes ma'am, and I said what? And then
Shit
I
happens.
look, listen, I'm gonna do a fucking reenactment of what it was like when I got to the drive-thru. This is this is my credit card. I did like this. I just looked at him.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I was like, you dead ass right now? You disrespect me in McDonald's drive-thru? But yeah.
I know.
But yeah, so that was a dub for me today when I got told that I didn't have an accent.
Yeah, like I feel like that's always a good thing.
But also, I don't know if that's a good thing considering the fact that people I was around have really thick accents. That's honestly the biggest. So I understand, like I can read and I understand Spanish, and I can speak Spanish to myself. Like I can say something and understand it, but if like past the first opening sentence where I'm so used to smashing all my sentences together, shit runs together. And people who speak Spanish don't understand me. So
Yeah.
usually I'll like tell somebody like, "Hola, cómo estás?" And then they know that I can understand and speak Spanish, and then they start speaking to me in Spanish, and I just answer them in English. That's a cheat code. I did that at this Mexican restaurant down here the other day. Went. It's basically like a Qdoba, but it's like local. It's fire.
Okay. Okay.
But I did that to the guy. I was like, "Hola, cómo estás?" And then he was like, "To go or for here," and then I answered him in English. So he was like, I think it kind of confused him because he's like, he's speaking Spanish. Does he know Spanish, or is that all he knows in Spanish? But then
Right.
when he asked me in Spanish, I answered, so he knows that I understand him. It's just the whole thing. I tend not to speak Spanish, but I can understand conversations, which has come in handy.
See, I feel like I took what 2, 3 years in high school of Spanish. I don't know a damn thing.
I
I took like advanced Spanish too. Also, who the fuck put someone with dyslexia in advanced Spanish?
was in advanced
We'll
Spanish.
never know.
Miss Sanchez? Fuck.
Oh, I took.
Allie, bro, what was that bitch's name, bro? There was this girl in high school. Don't fucking use her first and last name because I'm gonna get doxxed. They're gonna call it doxxed. I'm gonna get demonetized.
Just explain who it is.
There's this girl in high school. I can't remember her name. I was in Miss Sanchez's Spanish class, and I don't know why. I guess it's looking back now, it's just ADHD. You know, it's the Riz or it's the tism. But she was talking or something, and I pinched her arm like real good. It was a real good pinch, and she started
Yeah, I
crying.
love those.
She started crying, and I'm like, damn, like I get nervous, like I'm about to get in trouble. And then she looks at the teacher, and you know Miss Sanchez.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, "Why are you crying?" And the girl was like, "He pinched me." And then Miss Sanchez started laughing at her, and then the whole class started laughing, and I was like, "Yeah, that's funny." But I was nervous for a
Yeah.
minute.
No, yeah. I'd been shitting bricks. I'd be like, damn.
But I will say one language that's easier to speak, and I feel like maybe it could be just because I'm learning it now, but I don't mash my sentences together as much, is Italian.
Interesting.
But it's really like if you understand Spanish, it's easy to carry over to Italian because a lot of the words are similar. Like they're not the same. The like pronunciation's different, but like you can easily understand what's going on.
No, I took. No, I don't like. What was the man's name
No
that
clue.
did? It's like a man Spanish teacher.
No clue.
Like, I can't remember his
Yeah, I
name.
don't remember.
But
I only had Miss Sanchez.
I had him, and he would make me get up. Like, mind you, bad anxiety in high school, and
And
terrible.
you had to
Like,
ask her, "Mi permite ir al baño?"
like type of thing. And then on top of like
But do you know what that
undiagnosed
means?
dyslexia. No, no idea what the fuck you just said.
Do I have
No
permission to?
idea. I was like, okay, whatever.
Do I have permission to go to the bathroom? Mi permite ir al
Yeah, no,
baño?
I know like one word. It starts with a P, and I think it means bitch, but I don't want to say it because what
Punt,
if it's wrong and it
punta?
means something else? Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. I knew that one, but like that's about it.
So one thing that I didn't know about Spanish until like I was listening to different people speak Spanish is that like there's different types of Spanish. Like you have Spanish from
I
Spain,
knew that.
and then like they have
Yeah.
different dialects and they have different words for different shit.
It's like the same way in like Africa. How
Right,
they're
but like,
different.
well, I guess it's all languages. They have different forms of dialect. That's just kind of how language is. Like you pick up your different shit. So like I'll follow a conversation in Spanish, and then they'll say something I don't know because it's a different dialect than the Spanish I was taught or like that I know. It's like the typical
Yeah.
Spain, like people from Spain, cakewalk. A lot of times, like Mexican individuals, easy to understand. You can follow them. They don't talk as fast. I have a. I mean, have you met Danny? I think she was at the baby shower.
Oh, then probably.
So she's Mexican, and her dad speaks English, but her mom doesn't. And they came up here to visit, and they were in the office, and they're like talking, and then Danny was translating what we were saying to her mom, and then she like turned to
Yeah.
me to tell me what she was saying to her mom, and I was like, I got you. I'm following. I'm locked in. I got you.
No,
Don't ask me to
no, I
speak to your mom because she's not gonna understand what the fuck I'm saying, but I got you. I hear
wouldn't.
you.
Yeah. I wish, like, I've tried so hard because I've always wanted to learn, like, Chinese.
That shit's hard. I
Oh,
tried it. I
man.
tried it.
Yeah.
Cooked.
No, like, I want to so bad, and I keep, like, trying to, like, tiptoe into it, and I'm like, I can't even learn Spanish, let alone Chinese.
My thing is where I'm so extroverted, like I can be extroverted, but I like to be introverted. I'd much rather be able to read the language, because then I can go somewhere and I don't have to ask for directions. I can just fucking read a sign and be like, this way.
Yeah, right.
So like
Yeah.
Spanish, I can read it. I mean, Mateo were watching a movie one time on maybe a website that's illegal. I don't know. But it was
There we go.
Mission Impossible, and it was in France. So they were speaking French, but where it was on the website, um, the fucking subtitles were in Spanish. So I'm telling Matea what they're saying, and she's like, "How the fuck do you know, Terrence? You don't know French?" And I'm like, "The subtitles aren't in French, Matea. That's Spanish."
Uh,
But because you don't know, like she hears a foreign language, sees a foreign language, doesn't know what the fuck it says. She just took it that I was talking out of my ass. And I was like, "No, this is really what they're saying. I'm reading it in Spanish."
well, but also knowing you would fuck
No,
with
that
somebody, like,
100%. Yeah, that is some shit I do.
and it would be like, you make up some whole storyline.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
for sure. Okay, hold on. We're gonna take a
okay.
really quick break because there's an ad about to start. We'll be right back.
Oh, it's a twist
Welcome back.
off. Morning,
Okay,
everyone.
so going off of the fucking with people. I used to tell like make up these fucking bullshit. How would you say? Como te dice? Like ideas, I guess. I can't remember like one that I've used. I just remember the context that it was used in. We're driving to her family's house, and I said some shit like on the highway, like, "Oh yeah, this is why this is," and she was like, "Oh really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we get to her parents' house. It's not even like 5 hours after I tell her this, and we're having a game night, and then she repeats it, and I'm like, and her dad, like, this is somebody who's fucking like bio, like somewhat smart, has book smarts. Her dad looks at her like, "Are you fucking stupid?" So he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Just leave it alone, big fella." And then I pulled to the side like, "That was a joke," and you just took it so serious, and now we both look dumb.
See, that makes me think of though the time where Ash threw away her car tire. Like not like she went over a pothole, which was not a pothole, it was a ditch, and like there was that cement block that like creates the hole, and she hit it, and so it popped her tire. And it was like 2 a.m. when we were getting home from like a concert, and she calls AAA the next morning, and they take her like her tire off for her, and they put the spare on, and she was like, okay, so I don't need this anymore, right? And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she takes the tire and the rim all together and throws it in the dumpster, and
So,
she comes back into the apartment and says, well, like they changed my tire, and like I threw it away. And I was like, what do you mean you threw it away? And she was like, the tire, I threw it away. And I said, where's the rim? And she was like, in the trash. I was like, what do you mean it's in the trash? We need to go get it. And she's like, well, we'll just get one when I get a new tire. I said, not a rim. Like, you keep the
no,
rim.
that's wild.
And we went dumpster diving for that tire.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oof.
And she was like, I'll get it out. I was the one dumpster diving because she couldn't fucking reach it.
Perks
I
of
was like,
being the
okay, now
tall
I
one
need
in the
to go.
relationship.
We're the same height. It was
No,
like,
you're not.
like
You're
I
taller
made
than
her call
her.
her dad a little bit, yeah.
You made her
But
call her dad and tell her.
yeah, I was like, listen to what your daughter just did.
That's
And
funny.
he was like, you did not do that. And I
Shame.
said,
Shame.
but I was like, shame on him because I was like, did you not teach your daughter not to throw away the fucking
Oh
rim, bro?
fuck, that's good, man. That's so
I was
good.
like, what are we doing?
Oof.
Tough times.
Oh, that's good. Do you think there's like things that you, like if your daughter's gay, you should teach her certain things, opposed to like if she's straight and you like have the idea of what your her husband will be like, so that he knows he can, like she can take.
No, I think that you should teach
I think there's certain
girls
things, yes, but like you don't think that it matters.
across the board. I think they should learn the same thing
No,
because at the end of the day, like you're most likely not going to know like they're gay until they're older anyway. So like you should be instilling like those fundamentals in
fair,
them
fair.
regardless. So, like even like I was thinking about this today because like when I was doing all the work around my like the house, like I got my first from my grandfather, my first toolkit at age 9. Like to the point like my dad was asking me for tools like growing up because like I had them and he didn't. Like I feel like regardless of like whoever they're with, like they should be able to be like independent.
That's fair. I really want to put Evie into BJJ like as soon as she can do that.
Do it.
So she can fuck some people up.
Yeah.
It helped me
Like
sleep at night a little bit.
man or woman, you're getting these fucking hands.
I'm fucking
You don't.
honestly, top to bottom, they get your ass beat by the Johnsons. Fuck you talking about?
Yeah. Like you'll be eating shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, here's what's gonna happen. My 8-year-old daughter's gonna whoop your ass, and if you beat her ass, then I'm shoot you.
You know, we're just gonna end it here. Like no need for the drama.
Oh shit! But no,
Yeah, no,
she's
I
got the
think
mentality already, bro. She hits her head and laughs. She's a fucking killer.
I believe it. Yeah, no. But definitely I think across the board they should know the same things.
No, for sure. I was just curious what your thought process was.
I feel like
I
my
taught her that
grandfather
when
was
she.
very
Go ahead.
like my grandfather is very much like you're gonna like know how to do all these
Be
things.
independent. Learn how to be independent.
Yeah, like I'm learning to change a tub right now. Like
See,
the whole
Mateo
thing.
has a cop out. She can be independent, but she knows the second she starts struggling and she gets frustrated, she can be like, "Babe, I need your help," and
And
I
I'm very
know it.
much like I'm like I don't want the help. Like I might, need some guidance, but I'm like I still want to do it myself. Like I might ask you for like, so what do I do? But like don't try and
But
touch the
it's
shit.
it's the
I'm gonna
battles.
do it.
It's the battles. Like being with a woman that's been independent her entire life. I know that if I'm like, "Hey, let me do that for you," she'll let me. A lot of people think that I have a brainwash for that reason, but in reality, I'll let her go. Like if you want to build some shit, go for it, baby. I'm right here. You say the word, I got you. And she did that
Yeah.
shit, and I'll dead ass. She'll come in, start building something, and I'll just be laying there watching her, and I see the wheels turning, and she's like, "Wait a minute, why doesn't this hole line up?" And I'll fucking walk over, I'll flip it over, and she'll be like, "Oh." Then she'll be like, "Can you help me do this? I got you. Say no more. But I'll let you be independent. Just say the word."
Yeah.
There is certain shit that pisses me off though, like when she goes to fucking Walmart and buys shit that she knows is bigger than her car. That shit pisses me off.
Hmm.
Shit that we've talked about we needed to buy, and I will go with her, and then she goes and does it herself, and then she has to fucking go to Rural King to get help because she knows that my friends work there and they can help her tie her trunk closed or whatever it may be. I'm like, bro, this is why I told you to wait because I know that you would need help.
And that's the current issue my grandmother's facing right now. Of I really want to buy a new couch, and she's like, "Well, we can hire someone to do it." And I'm like, "Absolutely the fuck not. What do you mean? Hang on, no." Hello. She's like, "How are you gonna get it in the house?" And I was like, "I'll open it in the driveway for all I care, and I'll carry it in piece by piece. Like, I don't care."
Actually, though, Alyssa and John do that.
Yeah,
So there you go.
like,
If you
like
buy
hell.
some shit and you don't know how it works, like how to put it together, or you need help fucking moving the shit, and they're like affordable, like they just like helping people out. They do that. So if you got Alyssa on Facebook, hit her up.
Hey, okay, good to know. Cause
I got you.
yeah, well, I can put it together. It's just getting it from
Right.
Costco to the house.
That's fair.
I was like, I just need a U-Haul. Buy me a U-Haul. At
What
2 hours.
does your car have a trailer hitch?
My little two-door car.
Some cars do.
Fuck no.
Matea's got a trailer hitch, or the hole for a trailer hitch,
Not
and her
me.
Nissan Altima. We gotta get an SUV
Yeah, no.
stat, bro. It's bad.
Sasha does not do that.
Do you
Also,
miss
don't have a
having an
trailer. So
SUV?
what? Yeah, I miss the
They have
Jeep so
U-Haul
bad.
rental trailers. That's why I was asking, goofball.
Yeah, but at that point, just buy the truck.
It's fucking
Just
more
rent the
expensive
truck.
though. We try to cut corners on costs. You don't
It's
want to hire anybody.
1995. It says on the like 1995 on the back of it.
Yeah, and it's like $15 for fucking. Anyways, I digress. You said you had a question to
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah. It was about your life motto because I always feel like you can always drop some like really good, just like quotes and like inspiration.
My life.
You've
You
always
talking
been
about
really
the
good.
be better than yesterday?
Well, like as long as I've known you, you've been able to like just throw out like these really just like motivating quotes. But like, I guess that would be it. Be better than yesterday.
I
But
mean,
like,
that's what it
where
is
did that
now.
come from?
It's kind of like the theme of the Easy Brother shit.
But like,
Honestly, just like
where did?
I guess the overall, like the meaning behind it is like you're never gonna be perfect, but you can always try to be better than you were the day before.
Mm, yeah.
And then like as I grow and get into different things, like that's something that's always gonna be with me. And I mean like, even if it's not like even like according to faith, like I might not have prayed yesterday, but I can pray today, and I can help somebody today, and that's really where it's come from. Just uh like some days, kind of like what you said, some days are gonna suck, but putting in the extra effort to be better than you were the day before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that kind of leads me into my other question I have for you, just because this question kind of stemmed from I'd ask a girl this, and she basically was like, "I don't have any passions," and I should have known that was like the first red flag of if I ask you if you have a passion, you say, "I don't have one." That's concerning as fuck. Um, but I ignored it, so that was stupid. But kind of leading into helping people and that sort of thing. Like, what kind of passions are you into right now?
So I will say if anybody tells you that fatherhood doesn't change you, they're full of shit. Um, my mindset of like what I wanted and my goals in life before having a kid and now are very different. Granted, a lot I would definitely account that to faith, but before, I mean, you've probably heard it 1,000 times. Like my goal at one point was I'm gonna be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that I need the money, but like to make sure that the people. Granted, I think at the time it was like to be a billionaire, like to have that label, like prideful shit.
Yeah.
I think the deeper meaning behind that was I knew my goals in life in the sense of like I want to have a family, I want to have kids, I want to do this and this and this, and I it's kind of the deeper like the shit that you don't really talk about. Like I wanted to make sure that the people that I cared for were better off than I was. That's the core of that. Now my goal is not necessarily to be a billionaire, but more to make sure that my family's taken care of and we're comfortable and we don't have to look at a price of something before we buy it. But I want to take that same like this part, like this amount of money, whatever it may be, like it's going to change. Different factors change how much money you need to live comfortably. But say X amount of money we're comfortable at. I can make this amount of money, we're going to be comfortable, and I can focus on my family and spending time with them while we're here. With that, everything I make past that, I can give to something bigger than me. So, like, I mean, the list of shit I have in my notes of like plans I have, and I call them plans and not dreams because I feel like dreams is something that you put down and then you just forget about. I have plans, like business plans and personal plans, and like goals would be another good word to use. Like I do my yearly birthday post of like these are my goals for this year. Granted, I think I've gotten some not flack, but like people's asked me about it. Like, why did you set your goal for this and then you didn't hit it? So then you like made a smaller goal. Ultimately, a lot of it comes with like self awareness. Like my first, like so my look at my first birthday post where I started doing the goals for the year. It was like a couple months after I hit affiliate on Twitch, and my goal was like 1,000 followers and like crazy numbers. Which, granted, Twitch isn't necessarily the same as a lot of other social media platforms. Like, there's people that blow crazy. Pause. There's people that like blow up overnight because they post something, but a lot of the time it's not from Twitch. Like, it comes from like posting clips on TikTok and Instagram and like flooding the market with your shit. I don't have time for that. Granted, I just got an assistant, so hopefully in the future I'll have time for like that. It'll work that way because I have somebody else doing the shit for me that I don't have time for. But for me, it's like looking at, okay, I have my goal set for this. I now know that as good as it sounds in my head, it's not logical. Like it's not something that I can feasibly do unless I'm putting a certain amount of hours in that I don't have.
Right.
So it's really just like self-awareness. Let me pivot. Let me make it a 300 follower goal. Let me like my goals have gotten less physical and more, I guess, emotional. Like people tell me like having a girl, I'm gonna be emotional, and I would say to an extent, I feel it. Like I wouldn't say like I cry all the time,
Yeah.
but like I feel like joy and shit more.
Yeah.
So like they were saying I'm gonna get soft and all this shit. The hard shell TJ is still there. Granted, you're not my wife and daughter. You're not getting that side of me.
Right.
Like if you're not somebody I have an established relationship with, you're not seeing the caring side of me. It's just not happening. But the like the joyous, like I have that joy in my stomach, like the butterfly feeling, like that shit I get more of. And I don't necessarily like I help people in the community, like I especially with the floods and shit, like it's not something that I couldn't go out and like put hands on mud and help them clean their houses. But like doing things I can do to help. Not because like I don't even care to put my name on it. Like I pay for somebody's food and leave and they don't even know that was me. I don't need that gratification. I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah.
So like I guess that is the core of like back into giving back enough. Like one of my goals this year was be more like Jesus. Like love everybody, do right by everybody, help people that need help, or help people that are too prideful to ask for help. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And granted, like some things like that, I don't know. I would soon like I'm sure that you get a sense of like okay, like I helped somebody, like it makes you feel good. But it's not like I'm like quick to run out and like I hate people who do that on social media where it's like
They post about
you
it.
could tell the people who do it like this wholesome interactions, like those videos are like the GoPros on their chest where they're like handing out food and then they get those like wholesome interactions. That's different than like, hey, here's a burger, and then they turn around and turn the camera off and take it back. Like that's fucked up. Like you're doing that for clout. You're not doing that for the right reasons. Like this guy
Right.
who's giving hundreds and thousands of dollars of food away is videoing it to get that wholesome interaction, and then pay for his previous videos. Like it's the same concept. It's like putting their money back into what
Yeah.
they're doing. Like him making
Yeah.
those
Like
videos, he can help, opposed to I'm doing this so I can give clicks, and then I'm going to buy a fucking McLaren or a house or whatever it may be.
and I mean, it's so shitty that like you can tell what a lot of the time. I wouldn't say every time, but a lot of the time you can tell what those videos are, and like you can tell when they're not super
Right.
genuine, and it's still like people buying into it. It's
Well, I
just
mean,
like
and that's
why
the even with
would you
social
do it?
media, like the baseline of what social media is, I'm not a fan of. Like, there's a lot of greed and like I don't know, trying to be click worthy, like that shit. That's just corny to me. I don't need that. Ultimately, I don't care if I stay at 100, 230 followers and I get to do this. I I make money on Twitch that I can donate. I haven't spent a dollar of my Twitch money since I started making money on Twitch. So for me, I don't care about having huge numbers and being a household name and everybody's trying to take pictures of me. I don't need that shit. My whole goal when I started this was I had somebody I played with tell me there's no better feeling than getting a win in Warzone. There you go. I know that I'm good enough to win games. You're not by yourself. Hop in this lobby. Let's get you some fucking dopamine. Let's get people laughing and having a good time and forgetting about whatever struggles they got going on right now. That's my goal with this. Like I could care if it blows or not, whatever. That doesn't matter to me anymore. Because I know regardless, I'm gonna make money. If it's not doing this, then I'm gonna make money to maintain my family some other way. And this is like a an outlet to help people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'll say like when me and Ash were making money off social media, it became such a job,
Yeah.
and it was like at first when we started, it was fun, and like we enjoyed it, and then it became a okay, well today's like another video day, so like what are we gonna do? And neither one of us wanting to do it, and then it became like resentment, and we were like, this is awful. We hate each other because like we're trying to make each other like do these things that like neither one of us want to do anymore. But
It's
like
kind of like the
it,
concept of like don't do business with your friends or family.
yeah, it's very much just like okay, at this point, it's because we were both like she was in school, I was working, and I was also in school at like different points. But it was just like this is brutal.
Right.
Like no one's enjoying this anymore. We weren't getting, the same dopamine we were from like the beginning of it
Right.
because like we were just posting because it was fun.
Right.
And now it's like now it's a full-time job. You hit over a certain amount of followers and now it's just like we have to do this. It becomes less fun.
Right. Yeah, like takes the reason why you got into it away. Granted, I will
Yeah,
say
like
I'm to an extent I'm guilty of that too. Like at a certain point when I was making money, it transitioned from like okay, which I feel like that's normal in business. Like you get away sometimes you get so distracted by day to day that you lose track of why you started doing it in the first place. I feel like that's common.
yeah,
I think the self-awareness to be like, "Hey, pump the brakes. Like what are we doing here?" That's big.
yeah,
Cuz I mean, I'm notorious for it and then that's kind of carried over to the boys in the group where they're like they'll like snap at somebody cuz they're not on and it's like, "Bro, like I get it. It's frustrating that you're bought in, you're here every day, and then there's people that show up when they want to. I get that's frustrating, but at the same time, bro, we're just out here playing a game, bro. Let's have a good time. They're getting hell bent over a fucking Call of Duty game where somebody's cheating, bro. It is what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, and like I think our biggest issue was like the first video we ever posted together hit over 10 million. So like you have that first blow up and it is dopamine central, and then it's like you just trying to circle the like just circle back and like do better every time. And it's like there not every video is gonna hit 10 million. Not every video is gonna hit 10K.
Right.
And it's like, but you're still trying. And then it's like when it doesn't happen, and then it's like this fucking sucks. Why are we still doing this? And it's just like, ugh.
Right. And granted, like I kind of went through that phase too, where I was like worried about numbers, and you get that high spike. Like I got a video that's like 25K, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. So like now I'm chasing that, and then I start to realize like, bro, you're pushing out these videos you don't give a fuck about. Like put some effort into something like you care. Like talk to the people, talk to somebody who might be going through some shit. So that's what a lot of my stuff is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the
And it's
shit,
so
like you get to a point where it's like I put effort into this because I like enjoy this. Like I did the haul video from Tennessee. I like doing that. Didn't do great, but like it's out there. People interacted with it. It gave some people something to do. Or like the day in the life. A lot of people liked that video. That kind of blew. I would have expected that. Apparently, I need to do more of those. But like people enjoyed it. Something they can just like mind-numbingly like forget about what they got going on to watch me fucking do all this shit in the day. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I feel like day in the life videos are always like great because it's just seeing like, I guess this is me just being like, I love watching people succeed and do well. And it's like when someone is like doing so well, like they're happy in life, and like I love a good day in the life video. I will gladly sit there and watch the entire thing. And I don't know who the fuck you are, but I'll sit there and like it and love it. And I'm like, I'm so happy that you got to enjoy your day.
For sure. I think too. Like I don't know. I think that's what a lot like you see those people that just like look at David Dobrik.
Yeah.
You went through your phase of watching David Dobrik. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everybody our generation did. They watched his vlogs like crazy.
Yeah.
But you could see it now. Like he got so lost in that fucking putting out a video, getting millions of views, putting out a video, getting millions of views, making all this money. That man is so disconnected from whoever watches his shit.
Yeah.
And like just you could see it in the way he lives his life, and then the way he treats people, like people that were supposed to be his friends. Like I'm sure you saw the shit about his friend who fucking smashed his face and it was David's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, you're a dickhead now. That's what you wanted to
Yeah.
become. For what?
You let the get to you.
And I think that's like I think more that's like like that's the catch all now. Like selling your soul is a catch all. Like
Mm-hmm.
you sold your soul to like you fucking basically pushed everybody away from you to be this guy who gets millions of views for every video post and make all this money. And eventually down the road, everybody's gonna be tired of your bullshit. And you're gonna have all this money, but you're gonna be fucking alone.
It's so easy to fall into that trap because like you'll get some brand that reaches out to you and they're like, oh, we want to like we got a brand new couch for free, and it was like $1,000 couch, and they want to send you like 10K for video, and you're like, I don't even like this product, but I mean, I'll put it in the corner of my video so someone can see it and put ad on there.
Right.
It's like that's easy, even though like I don't like the product, but like 10K is 10K.
See, yeah, no, for sure. But also, I think too that
Easy to fall in.
right, yeah, no, easy, yeah. I mean, when people
It
don't, you're
shouldn't,
getting
but it's
views, yeah,
easy.
yeah. When it comes with greed, bro.
Yeah. Like knowing that like 10K takes how long to make, but if I know if I can make it in 30 seconds, like it's one of those things. Like so many people are like, hell yeah, like I'm gonna do
Right,
that because it's like that's a month's worth of rent right there.
right. Do you think that that's kind of like
Make it in.
you think that's one of your like pet peeves with social media?
Yeah, but I also know how like there is some products. And I wouldn't say like we hated them. Like we definitely sent brands back their stuff because we are like absolutely not. But like knowing that we were just we tried our best to like maintain what we really enjoyed and stuff. But like there was definitely like a couple of videos where we're like, yeah, we don't hate it,
Right,
we don't love it.
right. Hold on, let me grab a bottle of water really quick. I think a lot of that too, though, falls under the like self-awareness. Like there's not I have sponsors now, but it's not it's either something that I use regularly or something that I like. Like I'm not going to like I've accepted a sponsorship or I turned down a sponsorship before I got back into religion, and it was like a Christian-based jerky company, and they reached out about doing like a brand deal, and I'm like, I appreciate it. I was like, but I don't know if you've seen the streams. I don't think our views really align. I appreciate your time, but I don't think that's what's best for either of us.
Yeah,
So,
I hear you
but
for
again,
sure.
self-awareness. Not everybody has it. You throw money at people. I think it comes down to like yeah, greed is a big factor, but I think like in terms of where a person's at.
Hello to Grandma.
Hey,
I can hear you. I texted you.
You texted me.
I did. While you were
Oh,
stop.
we need the water back on the wall tonight.
Okay, close the door. I'll come check on you. Love you.
Who is it?
Love you.
Okay. Just make sure you get that on.
She kills me. She kills me.
I love you too.
It's because I've been doing my household projects and I turned the water off. The whole house.
but I think greed is a factor. Like you throw money at somebody, but I think the key fact there is like they don't have a real sense of joy, or like it's been taken away from them. Like they find more joy in getting money, like a dollar amount, than they do like interactions with people. And I tell
And
people
like
now when
also,
people sub, and I'm like thank you, bro, appreciate you, but I'd much rather you go into the fucking merch store and buy you something that you can wear. Like get you something that you have physical and not like, oh, I get to watch TJ streams without ads. Like that's bullshit, bro. That's
yeah.
like at least have
And
something where
like
you can put on and be like, oh yeah, it's this dude, he's cool, whatever.
just repping it, yeah. Well, cause like even like my TikTok now, I could make money off of it. TikTok keeps telling me like, oh, like you're eligible, and I was like, I've been eligible for years, like even on my small account, and it's just like I would rather
Small
be able
flex,
to just
little flex.
I would rather just be able to like connect with people and like do it for enjoyment and like not have to worry about like, oh, how much money am I gonna get off this? Like I just want to be able to do it because I'm making a video because it's funny. Because as soon as the money gets involved, it becomes too much, and it's just like there's no more fun in this.
Yeah, and I think too, like I've had people tell me like, well, this is what my biggest pet peeve is. Like I had like people. I don't know if it's like animosity or what it is, and I'm sure like you've ran into it. But like people tell me this is what you need to do. You need to do this. There's a certain group of people that if they give me advice, I'll actually look at it logistically and be like, okay, I see that. Especially like financially, I'm not going to somebody who's got less money than me and telling me, oh, you need to do this financial. I'm not listening to you, bro. But
But then you get some in those higher ups, and then they've been doing shady shit to get
right,
it.
no, for
So
sure.
gotta
No,
be
I'm talking like John Campbell. I'll listen to John. John tells me some shit. I know, like he grinding. He out here. I see it. I'll listen to you. Talk to me. Tell me all your secrets. I'll hustle. But like when it comes to like content creation, people be like, "Oh, you need to do this, this, and this. You need to fucking monetize your TikTok." I'm like, bro, you think I'm out here like? There's a deeper meaning. Like I'm not trying to, like, yeah, money's good, and I like to take care of my family, but like, bro, I got a whole ass job, bro. Like I make money.
yeah,
I'm good.
right,
Like I have a plan for this shit, and me worrying about pennies on TikTok is not the move.
yeah.
But that's a
And
big
I
pet
don't know.
peeve of mine.
I'm
I
just
think a lot of it's animosity because they don't have. I don't know if it's like the dedication. There's something they're missing something that doesn't get them to your point. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like they're either not disciplined enough, or they don't want to put in the time or effort into doing something, and they see that you're doing it, but they're not. You're not doing it the way they want you to do it. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's like they have this idea of it in their head of how it's done, and it's like, I mean, you can do it every which way you want to do it.
Right.
It's whatever works best for you. And I know, like, there's people with, say this, like, would have like 200K, which I know is a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, I know is a lot. But, like, also being a creator who had more than that at one point, they're like, oh, this is my full time job. I'm just like, what? Like I'm glad like you're pulling some type of string to be able to make that work, but I'm also like, what are you truly passionate about? Like what are we doing?
Right.
Like there has to be some type of passion that's not just like you posting onto social media.
But it's like that for me. That question would be okay. So what is your goal? Like, what's your goal? Is your goal to make money? If that's the case,
right.
congratulations.
And I'm also like with that amount, and I don't want to be like, oh, that's so small because it's not. But it's also like, are you really making ends meet, or are you just putting out the life that you want the
Right.
people that
Right.
is following you to think that you have?
For sure.
Because there's no
But also at the
way.
same point, why though? Like, if
Because
like
it's easy. You'll
you
buy into it.
yeah, but like at that same point that's when social media gets toxic. Where you're like telling all these people, "Oh, I got this because y'all like me." Y'all are broke. Like that's fucking like why, bro?
Yeah.
Like granted,
I think
uh, it, personality wise, I cannot fucking stand Logan Paul. Fucking hate him.
okay. But he's made a
No,
career out of
listen.
himself.
He is the biggest fucking cockhead. He's a frat boy fuck. Okay, that's Logan
Right, boy,
Paul.
fuck.
But business wise, he's a fucking genius. Like I can look at him as a businessman and be like, respect. Like I don't like you, but like what you're doing, crazy. You know how to fucking just turn over the market and everybody's throwing money at you. And then his brother the same way. Like you could say Jake Paul is not a boxer, but he's fucking fighting and he's getting fucking millions of dollars to do it. Now, granted,
Yeah.
what he's doing with his money, that's his money. Do what you want. You know, at the end of the day, I'm not here to judge. I'm not Jesus Christ. You do you, bro. But it's like, bro, at the end of the day, same premise as David Dobrik. You're gonna be this guy, and everybody's gonna fucking hate you. Then you're gonna be by yourself. Then what? What if that well runs dry and people's like, you know what? Let's stop fucking watching this shit. Fuck this guy.
So yeah, I mean it's so easy in today's like world to get canceled. Like I know for a long time I watched everything that I posted, and I was like, oh, I can't say this, I can't say this, and then I finally hit the point where I was just like, who the fuck cares? You're gonna cancel me regardless, because if that's how I feel at the end of the day, that's how I feel. If you don't like it, like I'm not gonna be out here saying, like
I will say, and
but like
I don't mean this in a bad way, but I will say, we have the same mentality on that. Like, fuck it, if you cancel me, you cancel me. I don't give a fuck. But the likelihood of us getting canceled is definitely me.
yeah, I mean you have a lot more. I feel like in the nicest way possible. I have a lot more mainstream thinking, like like okay, not mainstream, blue thinking. It would
Just
not get
say,
me
just say
canceled, if you know what I
Democratic.
mean.
You say Democratic. That's fine.
There we go.
I
Yeah,
mean,
which wouldn't get
we
me
tend to
canceled.
stay away from politics on the stream. This is a podcast, is a little different, but no, 100%. And that's what ultimately I think that's my biggest. Not, I don't like. Again, I don't care. That's your opinion. But the whole like, white man, Republican, Christian, that shit. It's like, okay,
Yeah, you walk and you can, but that's also
because
just because of the
because if
stereotypes
you're
of some
saying
people.
that, how many people do you think say that?
Oh, yeah,
And at the same time, you can talk about privilege all you want, but if that's the stereotype, oh, you've only made it because like we've had this conversation before where you were like, oh, if you when you're
we don't have to
rich,
get into this if
no,
you don't
it's
want to.
okay, no, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But we had the conversation where you're like, oh, he's only rich because he's a white man, and I said, okay, well, what about
Mm-hmm.
me? Like, you know, if I do get rich, it's based off of like you've seen how I grow up. That's not the case. So, although that's the case for some people, it's not the case for everybody.
Right,
Just like
but that's
basically
also
the
where
same
it goes
concept
back
as
to
the
the
fuck for the frat boy fucks.
correct,
Right.
where it's not
A
not
lot of them,
everyone,
but
but it's a lot
right.
of them, and like that's where the issue lies.
Right. And I mean that's the case with everything though. You can do it with anything. You can do it with fucking you do it with black people, you can do it with fucking school shooters. Like there's every category has like, oh well this is the stereotype, but not everybody does that.
Yeah. It's
Like
like
I mean
the
fucking
that's
anything
that's
politically, fucking gun owners, fucking Christians.
yeah,
Like everything has a
which
stereotype of like this is what they are or this is what I think they are, but that's not the case for everybody. Just because some people fit in that category doesn't mean the whole category does.
and I think it's always funny when people find out like when I'm like I got yeah like I have my concealed carry license.
Well, that's
You grew up
different.
like
You got it just so you could argue points,
correct.
which doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's because you always hear like the whole Democrats want to like take away the Second Amendment, da da da, and it's like no, we don't want to do that.
Mm,
Like carry your guns, you just don't need a AK-47 to do it. You know what I'm saying?
but at the
Like
same
if I
time,
want to
though,
take someone out, if I want to take someone out, I can take a pistol and I'm gonna take your kneecap out and take your shoulder out. You
yeah.
ain't walking and you ain't shooting my ass, and I don't need an AK-47 to obliterate you.
But at the same
I'm
time,
gonna
though.
make sure you fucking suffer.
Okay, but hold on. Let's go back. What is the? Do you know what the reason for the Second Amendment is?
It's like to protect your like land and like your animals and your land and stuff.
Correct.
I'm
But
a history buff.
the-
Don't do me.
I know you know. Like I'm building a conversation here, opposed to just preaching at you. I'm not trying to mansplain shit. I know you know, so I asked a question. Okay.
Yeah.
This is how civilized people have conversations. So
For
based
sure.
off of that,
I've been dealing-
the key factor in the Second Amendment is to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. Which, if you remember, pre-1776, the fucking soldiers could show up and be like, get the fuck out of here. This is our house now. So, although I carry a gun in public to protect my family, protect myself, the reason I have an AR-15 and soon a shotgun is not to carry around in public. Although I can, in an open carry state, I have the right to do that by law. But ultimately, it's for when, if shit hits the fan and the government comes to my front door like, yo, get the fuck out. I'm like, funny guy. Let me show you something.
Yeah. Then like who's to say they don't have the same thing? Then
Well, that's-
it's 14 of them versus one
That's
of you.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, the way I plan to have my land is mapped out to avoid that situation and to prepare for a situation in sense. Not that deep. Ultimately,
Okay.
ultimately, like I said, this life doesn't matter. Like as much as I love to live my life with my daughter and my wife every day, it does. But ultimately, it doesn't. Like what you do matters in terms of doing the right things.
Yeah.
But if I was to die tomorrow, Matea's gonna be upset. Evie's gonna cry. It's gonna happen. But like, eternal life. Believe in God. I'll see you again. But back to my point. Fuck. What's my point?
I'm glad your brain shut off too. Mine had just shut off.
Lost it. Ultimately, protect from a tyrannical government, and that's what it was. The common misconception is that when people swear in the military, not thinking that you believe this, just putting it out there, but people think that when you swear in, that you swear into the government. That's not the case. You swear into the Constitution. So typically, I mean, if you ask soldiers, I'd say probably more than 90% is going to say, if somebody's like, hey, we're going to go take people's guns, they're going to say, yeah, fuck you, we're not doing that. It was forward to the Constitution. So 9 times out of 10, if it's the government showing up, it's not going to be soldiers. It's going to be fucking somebody in a suit, and I ain't got no problem taking care of business on that front. But if you're going to come and take my guns with guns, that's fucking hypocritical.
Yeah, right? You know.
You better be ready to die for that.
Like there's also, which sucks because like a lot of the time if it is government or if it is military use type of thing, they don't have a say in what they're doing.
Right. No, I mean, granted, being an American has nothing to do, especially now, like all the shit that I've been finding out that we've been spending money on, I'm not a government guy. I'm a concept of America guy. Freedom for everybody to do what they want. That's what I'm here for. I give big old fuck you to the government. And that's why when I vote on the people that align with that idea, the idea of the 1776 America. Tea in the harbor.
Okay.
Fuck them.
On that note, I'm not gonna say anything else because that one would take us down a wormhole that we've been down before. and don't need to go back down again because 1777 America was
76.
a time for white men, and that's all I'm gonna say on that.
But at the same time, though, I will say white men get the flack. Actually, let me pivot.
They
Not even.
built the flag. I mean, hang on. All of the issues.
You said
that
built the flag?
White men, huh?
You say built the flag?
Like,
A woman
lot of
made the
issues
flag.
That white American men complain about are all issues that they have made for themselves. That's why I said I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
My thing, what I was gonna say was, kind of touching back on the whole Hitler shit.
Yeah.
So that guy, same guy, basically said that like it's kind of cringeworthy just because of what society's made it, but like the like super masculine men, like the fucking like not scared to fight and say what they want. He had like he basically didn't like men that fit in that category, and my response was, that's fine, but when some shit pops off and we have to go to war, who the fuck are we sending? Those type of men are the ones that are like, nah, I don't like getting my hands dirty. I'm not crawling through the mud. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you can have your pet peeves with certain people and the way they carry themselves, but when shit hits the fan, those are the type of people you want around to handle some shit.
I also wonder if that was meant in a different way, in the sense of like, and this is me more of like the therapy way of, because those toxic masculinity ways of just the way that.
Go ahead. Finish your statement. I'm not being rude.
No, and I mean, no, I mean more of like a sense of like the toxic masculinity, as in, oh, I can't feel emotion. I don't like, that shit doesn't bother me, like, even though it does, and like, then they push that off as in, now it's anger because like you're not dealing with like the underlying emotion because like you're too scared to deal with that.
So you're seeing that you see that in therapy, like the just brushing shit off. Okay, I get that. And I think,
and so then it comes in like that toxic masculinity stuff. Like, oh,
I don't like that phrase because of what society's made that. I think ultimately, to me, if that's the case, and you tell them like, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence because I was raised like, you don't fucking cry. Doesn't mean that I don't cry. You know what I mean? I've seen my dad cry, and he was like, there's circumstances you don't cry. Understandable. I think that, like, the more you grow, you either understand that or you don't. Like my dad said, men don't cry. He didn't mean it as like they don't show emotion. He was saying like certain situations that you're in, you can't fucking cry. You gotta fucking figure it out and work through the problems. That's how I took that. That's not how everybody takes that.
A lot of men don't though.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
But also at the same,
like, oh, I have to shovel everything down.
Right. At the same time though, to me that's not toxic masculinity. Like I said, I don't like that term. To me, that's just you're a shit dad. Like if you don't explain to your son like, this is life. Shit happens in life that you have to process. You can't just fucking wear it all the time. Now, granted, our views on a man and the shit they go through very different. I don't bash you for it. Your point of view. I have my point of view.
I've never been a man before, so I'll give you that.
You said what?
I've never been a man before, so I'll give you that.
Fair enough. But I think the biggest factor is if you're a dad and you're not preparing your kids, especially your sons, for life in the sense of like how to I mean honestly I think that's a lot of the issues when men commit crimes comes down to they're not raised to learn how to deal with their emotions or like their anger or whatever it may be.
That's why I feel like there's so many cases when it comes to like domestic violence and it's like the man aggressor and it's because she said something or whoever they're with.
And I know a lot of that shit comes down to pride. Like, pride's an ugly bitch. I'm sure there's 1,000 different rap songs that say that. That shit'll get you killed.
I have clients come in and it's like, oh, I can't cry.
Right.
Like I don't like to cry, and I'll be like, what's wrong with crying? And like they have a daughter at home. Like one specific client comes to mind, and he's like, I don't like to cry. Like crying, like I shouldn't be crying. And I was like, what's wrong with crying? He goes, well, nothing. And I'm like, so then why are you telling yourself you can't cry? Would you tell your daughter that she can't cry? No, you wouldn't. So why are you telling yourself that? Like, at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this. Do you think there's a difference, like, I don't know how to phrase this question. Like, you think there's a difference in men crying and women crying situationally?
No.
Like, in certain
What the fuck
situations,
does your gender have to do with your emotions? Like, regardless, like you're gonna take that situation, however you're gonna take it, because like the way that you perceived it, and like the way that you choose to cope with things, it doesn't matter what gender you are. The thing that hurts us the most is societal standards. The way that society views that is the only thing that like affects the way that a lot of us view that. Is like, oh well, men shouldn't cry. Why? Because society told us not to.
well, see, that's the biggest thing the biggest issue I have with societal standards is like the you have to live this way is shitty. Like, every person has a preference on how they want to live. Granted,
Yeah.
like for Matei, for example, she has always been independent. In the next couple months, she's gonna be a stay-at-home mom. She didn't want to be a mom. Then she met me, and then she wanted me to be a dad. So we've grown, and
Oh,
she now is to the point where she's like, I have, I care so much about what we're creating in our household that am willing to give up my pride and my goals. Not goals because I wouldn't let her do that, but like my pride and like my
independent.
independence to be what I really want to be a mom, spend time with Evie. But I think for me though, like you would, so as a therapist, like you have the like you get the general makeup of like not gender roles, but like man and woman and how they process shit.
Mm.
So would you say you? I'm sure that you would say typically. Well, no, because you fucking think that men more emotional than women. I think typically, genetic makeup wise, women are emotionally led and men are logically led. Do you not agree with that? I know that you think men are more
There,
emotional than women.
there could be like some truth behind that, but it's also like we're still human.
Right. And I'm not saying
And
for
like
everybody, but
that
I'm
could be
saying,
totally
yeah,
flipped.
yeah.
Like, it depends on the person at the end of the day.
No, for sure. And I get that. And I mean, ultimately, everything I've said today, talking about human and like the way humans work, is based on situation and individual. I'm not saying like every person fits this standard, but typically,
I think society has pushed it so hard on men that you have to go with logic, that like so many people refuse to see the emotional side that could have led them because of what they've been told.
I could see that.
Like
For me, though, I
most
feel
men don't have hands.
like we talk a genetic code, like our makeup genetically, like like way back, like before even civilization, like fucking men go out and hunt, women stay home, take care of the kids, whatever. From that standpoint, in that time frame, if something was to happen, a man's out hunting and he fucking gets hurt or something and he fucking cries about it, he's not gonna fucking make it home. Like, it's just not happening. Like, he's gonna die. Wherein the same instance, if a woman is at home, not saying like, I'm just making an example, but if a woman's at home and she
Mm,
cries, fucking, like, she's fine. She's safe. She's upset.
yeah.
Cool. I think like, again, it comes down to situation. It comes on the individual. But like, I see it with Mateo all the time. It's like she gets frustrated and it turns into sad, like not sadness, but like she like mad cries. And me, I get pissed off and I like my brain starts working like, how the fuck do I fix this?
I'm that same way. And like Ash was the same way as Matea, where she was like, dude, low key, like just want to cry it out and then like try and figure it out. And I was very much like, stop your fucking crying. We need to figure this out
For sure.
now, and then we can
I
deal with
think
the emotion.
a lot of the
But get me out of the
maybe
situation
something
first.
just not nitpicking, but just I'm sure you're aware, but something to work on while you're single, maybe just your delivery, just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know.
It's something I had to work
I
on.
Yeah, for sure. And it's when I talk with my clients, I'm a lot nicer. And when I talk to someone I'm close with, I'm just blatant
Right.
about it, and like it definitely comes off harsh. But
Yeah.
that's one thing. People start crying around me, and I'm like,
I
I
used
want
to
to say my
laugh.
clients. I'm good with my clients.
I used to
When
laugh.
my clients, they cry, like I'm like I can handle that. Someone that I'm close with, I'm like, why the fuck are we crying right now?
Yeah. I get
Please
it.
stop.
I think a large
Fix your
part.
shit.
I think the thing that made me finally realize it's not what you're saying; it's how you're saying it.
Yeah.
So you could be saying something totally right, but if your delivery is wrong, they're not taking it how you meant it.
Yeah, at all. That's a big thing I work with my clients on is like you can tell them exactly how you feel. But if you start yelling or your tone changes, that man's gonna pick up on it,
Like if
and
Mateo's
then he's
crying
not gonna
and
be
I'm
able to.
like, "Stop fucking crying." We're trying to do something. She's crying. I'm like, "Stop fucking crying." Opposed to me being like,
So
"Babe, it's all right. Let's figure this out. Like we got it." It's gonna be way different. And I'm saying the same shit, just different
Yeah.
fonts.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
But for sure the delivery on
Yeah.
things.
no, for sure. Well, I feel like we could keep talking for hours, but we are at 10:30, so I'll probably have to have you back on. I'll probably use you as a grace period, so I stopped scheduling podcasts at a certain point in advance, but to buffer, I might use you as a buffer later on.
Buffer.
I mean, we did good views wise, and then we'll see how the YouTube post does. Whenever I get that posted, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I couldn't see any of the comments or anything, so I was like,
Well, I don't think you'll be able to see comments. Honestly, maybe in the future I need to put a little chat box at the bottom so that people can see it. But look at
it
me.
said message failed to load. Anyway,
But
it's okay.
anything before you leave? You have a message for the people. This is your free plug. Whatever you want to say it to the camera. Everybody's gonna see it.
Go to therapy. Everybody needs therapy. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. It'll all be okay.
It's pretty
That's
similar
my
to what Mateo said. Mateo said, "Be kind."
Exactly.
All right, see. Well, we appreciate you. I'll text you later.
I love ya.
Love you. All right, chat. I appreciate y'all for being here. I love y'all. Be better, bees, y'all. I'll see y'all next time, baby.